Okay, so now, correct me if I'm wrong, that should be the stream live. Still a little too sensitive here. Let's see if this works. Hello, people in the stream. Welcome, the 2s and 3s of you. I don't care. I don't care how many are here. It's all about the interaction. How you doing, Zane? Welcome to the stream. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. Turn this down a little bit more. Or maybe up. Hello, Jose. Hello, Kindlestone. Hello, Daniels. Hello, Nesson. Hello, lovely kid. Good morning. Good morning or good evening if you're on the west coast of North America, actually. But if yes, for us here in Japan, good evening. One sec, I'm going to turn that. Actually, I'm just going to move that light behind me. One moment. It's good to have light, but having it get in the way as it was in the back doesn't do much for the image. It's going really, really good. I would say, admittedly, there's a sort of frustration with the fact that I couldn't get the video done in time that I wanted to release for this weekend, but then it's sort of a happy error because it means that I get a chat with you guys, which is kind of cool. But I'm really, really excited for that video. It's definitely where I like refining skills, but just as much as that, I like doing new stuff, and this new project that I'm working on is it's totally new, fresh off the new video never done before train, whatever you want to call it. Yo, what up, Ian? Yeah, thank you. I've been working hard. Been working hard at the gym, eating real clean. The name of that song, this is actually something I could talk about for you guys, because I know I probably don't appreciate as many people as actually have channels who watch mine, and this has been a great revelation for me in terms of music, where you guys know I'm always harassing people for new music, which is a pain in the ass, and it's like I just can't use the YouTube audio library anymore, and I don't even know how I found this, but I'll pull it up on the screen here. It's this site called Epidemic Sound. It costs me 15 bucks a month now, which I'm happy to pay. And you get this massive library of music, and if you look at this, like right here, you can separate it into moods, you can separate it into movement, you can do places, you can do genres, and it's professionally produced music. If you watch my most recent video, it was all taken from here, and like I'm finding now I used to have to struggle to find music, one song that made me happy with what I wanted to be in the video, and now I'll find like seven copies of it, like 7 different versions of where I'm like, do I use this one? Do I use this one? They're all so good. And it's 15 bucks a month. First month was whatchamacallit, it was free, and in addition to that, it's like it stays at 15 bucks a month until my channel exceeds something like 100,000 views, which I do not hit that a month currently. But hey, that's an immediate goal. Hello, here for the peanuts. Hello, Scalbert, thank you very much. Yeah, quality over quantity, that's definitely the route I would like to go with my channel. I mean, not to say that I won't do like update videos or sort of reflections on random things, but yeah. Let's see, so how's the eating and training schedule set up? Well, I can actually show you at least the eating, MyFitnessPal, because one of the big things for me, not that I can still do it regardless, but tracking your calories is really, really important. I think it keeps you on task, and it also gives you something to almost in a strange way look forward to. So here is basically like what a meal consists of in the course of a day for me. One of the big things I've added as well, just blows my mind, and it can't be any kind of mistake, is blueberries. I was looking up because I was like, I'm missing something in my diet that I don't recover fast enough. And I was like, I don't think I'm getting enough antioxidants. I don't think the free radicals are being removed from my body quickly enough after I build up lactic acid and other waste products from exertion. And I looked up blueberries are the shit for this. They're one of the best things you can do. So I added that into my breakfast. And god damn, does like adding blueberries, it's unmistakable now. It is not a placebo. I'm like 3 weeks into this like new training, or no, new eating. The training hasn't really changed that much, and my recovery time is way better, way better. Happy New Year, Fujiwara. I'll get back to the questions now. Let's see. Chillin'. Yeah, I figured I'd just put on, and it's cool too because of this music. It's all I can, obviously I got it because I can monetize it for my channel. Good evening, Andrew. There in Ohio, right on. So I can do live streams now. I can just put this on in the background, and I have absolutely nothing to worry about. It won't get demonetized or anything, although it'll probably be demonetized anyways. How I work out 4 times a week usually, Jibril. You missed nothing, Dylan. I was actually, as usual, I was about like, I don't know, like 8 minutes late starting up the stream. I gotta stop doing that. I gotta be more on top of it. Kyushoku is my fitness pal. Yeah, Kyushoku. You'll notice here in mine, there's the school lunch. Of course, I put that in there, and I put in all the different health information. But that's enough of looking at my lunch. I did a little dark chocolate, nice. Yeah, Dylan, of course you can ask questions. It's an Ask Me Anything session. You can, that's like my thing. I like to see how many questions I can smash through. Sup, guy? Welcome to the stream. How's your social schedule? How many times are you going out a week to socialize? Social schedule when I'm on my shit is nearly absent. I do think that's a part of the beautiful tragedy of trying to work towards your goals, is your social life kind of goes at the wayside a bit. But if you guys follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, you should. There's some cool pictures there. I also give updates, and one of the things that I did this previous weekend was I went into Tokyo and I met up with the guys, Victor and Charles from Yummy Japan, and we did Japanese Tokyo street food, whatchamacallit, what is it? Collaboration, that's the word. If you type in Kyushoku, it will come up in Romaji. It's fine. Nice. I'm moving to Japan in a few days, and your videos have been a godsend. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love hearing that the videos are good. Hya win. I got an ad at the start of the stream, so I think the monetization is okay. Okay, there you go. Zane asks, Dave, are you gay? No, Zane, I'm not. I'm not gay. Spirit, hey Dave, recent subscriber, love your videos, have been watching. Thank you. Saw your Patreon goal for 800. Ever thought of building your own, easy and cheap? No. Short answer to that, Spirit, is I had no idea. Shows my lack of foresight. I didn't know you could build your own. I do have my eye on a tasty gimbal though. Although I think saving through Patreon, it's gonna take like maybe a month or 2 more. But it's the sweet spot. It's the Zhiyun Crane version 2, not the Zhiyun Crane 2. The Zhiyun Crane version 2. Because that one works with mirrorless cameras, so I kind of get this like get out of jail free card because I don't have the weight requirements that you usually have for people with these big DSLRs, and it's something like $150 cheaper, so pretty sweet. Okay, Dylan. Well, I'm coming to Japan next Friday, and if you or anyone here has any good suggestions for clubs, pubs, and historic places around Tokyo, Shibuya, and Roppongi. The club that I went to in my last video was a lot of fun. A-Life, that was really, really cool. That's in Roppongi. I also did another video of it. If you like ridiculous desserts, a place called Cookie Time is near Harajuku Station. That's really good. They shut down. Again, if you follow me on Twitter, if you don't, follow me on Twitter. The place I used to go to, Magnolia Bakery, they got them in like New York and stuff. They shut it down, and it broke my heart. Trying to think any more places you might want to go. So many places. Music is a little bit loud. Okay, thank you for letting me go. Okay, one sec. Yeah, okay, we'll turn that down. That should be better now. What are we on? We're on Club Noir. Let's move a little further here. Turn up to music. Now I'm at a loss. People want the music down. People want the music up. This is so typical. We all have our tastes, don't we? Dave, I have my in-person interview with Interact on January 27th. Wish me luck. I wish you luck, Mike. I hope that goes well for you. I really do. I work in Eikaiwa, and my schedule ends a bit late. I would like to meet only Japanese people and force myself to learn Japanese. What's the best way to be with them? I would say one of the guaranteed, actually works, amazing apps that you can use is HelloTalk. Excuse me. HelloTalk, you will meet tons of Japanese people on there who genuinely want to speak English. And I know I got a buddy who started using that before he came to Japan. And he started making friends that when he came here, he then met up with those people and they are now friends. What time is it in Chinatown? I don't know. Do you know Dewey? In a sense. I've seen the pics on Instagram, people lining up to take pictures, traditional Japanese women. Oh, yeah. That was like a coming of age ceremony in Yoyogi Park that I just happened to go by. And then, yeah, that was such a cool coincidence. Hey, Aditya. New subscriber here. How are Indians usually treated in Japan? Well, I would say. I gotta turn down my voice a bit here. I had a great friend, although he would never be in videos when I used to live beside him. We were like, first we were neighbors, then we were roommates. And he was ethnically Indian, although he was from England. And he was treated very well. He spoke Japanese very well, so that probably contributed to people treating him well. But yeah, Indians are treated well in Japan, I would say. Oh, shit. Fujiwara, as you say that, I feel like such a goof. No, I have not set up the Streamlabs. It's still just the super tip or whatever that you have in here. Yeah, that's a ball drop on me. That was on my list of things to do this week, and I haven't done it. No excuses, though. I'll take that one, you know, take that shot on the chin. I gotta set that up properly. God damn it. Yeah, groups and clubs. If you do groups and clubs, then you can find. I mean, it really is. There is like a million different ways that you can be meeting people. I'm a guy who goes for everything. Cocktail places are my weak spot. Well, you'll have no shortage of those. You could go to the... I would love to do a video there. It's called the New York Bar, and it's in Roppongi Towers, and it's the bar that they went to in Lost in Translation. Yeah. Zion Crane is a good choice, worth saving for if you want an out-of-the-box solution. Yeah, exactly. It's just sort of like, from all the reviews, they were like, this is an excellent first gimbal you've ever had gimbal, where I'm like, these things are complicated enough that would be perfect, and it just so happens I can save some cash because they have the lower, you can put lower weighted cameras on them, which I have. It's not showing me. Okay. Hello, Elmo. Welcome to the stream. Damar, in your opinion, is Heart English School or RCS better? Heart, I've often heard referred to as heartless, but all of these schools that, I mean, I'm kind of touching on this a little bit in the new video that I'll release by Tuesday now. These schools that people like suffer over the details of, which are usually the first job that they're ever going to have. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Like, sure, it's fun, and there's nothing wrong with kind of like statisticizing. That's not a word. Checking up all the statistics, but I wouldn't worry about this one's like slightly better than this. Just use them as a stepping stone. Yeah, I'm enjoying the jazz too. This is cool. Going to Tokyo with no visa to Job Scout. That's fine. I know a guy. I know a guy who does that, or did that, I should say. He's come over, and he's got a job. He's doing it all right. Okay, now I'm gonna refresh this screen because I'd like to know. I'd like to have some sense. Oh no! Oh no. Okay, I just refreshed the screen, and now it's trying to sign in. What is it? Okay. Okay, I'm almost there, guys. I wanted to see how many people are in this stream right now, and it would usually tell me, but it didn't update with that information, which is not how I'm gonna do this. Oh, hey, that's pretty cool. 54 people. That's pretty good. Okay, let's get back to these questions. Liam asks, you mentioned in a video you need to have a degree to get any decent job. Do you bed a university degree, or getting a degree through an apprenticeship works too? Oh, I think you mean need. Need a university degree. Okay, so the eternal question, and I will answer the eternal question now again. If you want to work in the public school system, you need to have a degree, and that degree needs to be from like your kind of standard accredited university or 4-year degree. If you don't have a degree, you can still work in the Eikaiwa sector. Your options are a little more limited. The visa that you have is different. It's the, what is it called? Arts and Humanities visa. And you'd probably want to boost up whatever diploma you had with something like a TESOL to make yourself that much more desirable as a candidate to be hired. So that's how you separate the two paths that people may go down. The one that I always is kind of default, because I haven't really updated my info in a while, but it is the case that it would hire people without a degree, is Peppy Kids Club. You go through them, they're in Eikaiwa, and then once you're in Japan, you can like maybe look around for more, call it like international schools or something like that as you go along. Zane, did you hear anything about Logan Paul in Japan, like on the news? No, I didn't, but I certainly did see, of course, on YouTube the absolute avalanche of fucking people who moralize, from a moralized position where like, oh, I am gonna doggy pile on top of this as an opportunity for more popularity. Hey, I'm living in Matsudo right now. I know Matsudo well. Teaching out at Eikaiwa. Just wondering if you're going to do a meetup anytime soon. I may do one. I mean, I've always kind of like, I've half-assed the meetups. Maybe I should make it more obvious like a week or two in advance, but I might be coming into Tokyo next weekend, and I always say, although I've been forever alone whenever I do it, I've said on Instagram when I show up, I'm like, hey guys, I'm going in, and if anybody's around, I've had like 1 or 2 people are like, yeah, I'll meet you for coffee. And then it's never come about. But I'll be doing it in the future, and I would love to meet more people who are watching the channel. It's like really, any time that I've ever met someone who watches the channel, it's always been an awesome experience, and I really appreciate it. So that'll be happening. That'll be happening. Nice music, thank you. Yes, we're going of course, we've gone with the mood here is laid back. That's what we've gone with. I love this building. If you guys see this on the screen here, like the light hitting the side of this thing, that is some golden light right there. Let's move along though. This is all around Shibuya right now. Oh, by the way, I should say as well, I'm quite proud of this. I didn't actually really hear back from many patrons on Patreon, but I finally updated the $5 tier and above, that anybody who signs up for those, not only do they get like unlimited correspondence with me and access to all the posts that I do in the feed there, but the digital photos folder is now updated, available, and being continuously added to. And so if you're looking for like sweet backgrounds for your computer or your mobile device or whatever the hell, that now is a reward, is updated on Patreon. I wanted to mention that. Am I going to... Okay, I don't want to skip questions. Yo, Dave, can people from abroad with engineering degrees come to Japan, given they know some Japanese? Yeah, they absolutely could, Fujiwara. I would never discourage someone from, like, really pursuing their dream or whatever, but I always add in, like, a word of caution of probably better to work for some international company as opposed to directly for a Japanese company, or work in, like, the international aspect of a Japanese company, because their work ethic is so broken and absolutely soul-crushing. So that's definitely something that I say. But yeah, you absolutely could, but I would try and get in with an international company if I were to do that. Hello, Fix Fire Flank. Thanks for dropping by. Always good to see ya. Always good to see ya. 56, 56, 56. Hey Dave, the question is for you. Anyone here teaching as an ALT? How do you overcome the initial loneliness and the shock of moving to Japan? You don't. You don't overcome that. You revel in it and you enjoy the beautiful tragedy that is life and loneliness. Actually, that's only half true. I think you get caught up so much though in the initial experience and how exciting it is to be here that you really don't notice that. I would say, like, specifically because you say initial. Because initially, you're so culture shocked, you're so out of your depth, everything is so new, so exciting that you don't get that. That's more something I would say that sinks in probably at around, like, the 4-month mark. And in that point, it's kind of like people have talked about, to learn the language, to meet Japanese people. Just make sure that you're trying to go out and do things. Try to make sure that you're going out and talking to people, meeting Japanese people, meeting new foreigners, meeting whoever, right? Like, but just make sure that you're having, like, a proactive life, and then you won't end up locked away in your room wondering why you ever made the decision to come over here. Sosaku88, hello David, recently had an interview with Interact and went all really well. Managing director of the UK branch knows you by name. Huh. I don't know if that's good necessarily. Oh, that's funny. I think, okay. But that's really, really cool. I'm so glad to hear that that you've gone through the interview and it's gone well. I wish you luck with that. Start of an adventure. And what is life if not an adventure? Hey Dave, I was wondering how your Japanese is after living there for so long. Maybe a demonstration. Saikin wa yatto jouzu ni natta. Basically, I've had like a real struggle with it for whatever reason. I really, languages, it's hard. I feel like I need to work harder than other people. I do believe that there's an optimal way to study. I don't think that all study is intelligent study. Just like opening a book isn't going to do well for you. I will say, having done the JLPT for a second time, because I failed it the first time by 1 mark, another great tragedy, but of course it made me get back to grind to learn some more. That the second time that I did it, I'm way, way more confident. I actually think I could have had one of the best participating marks in the JLPT for the session that I did it in, for the level that I did it at. And it was weird because at the time that I was doing that, I was like, man, I'm grinding so hard. I'm working so hard to speak this language. Why don't I feel better? But it was this really weird thing where post that effort, post-test, I got like sick, and then I had 2 weeks and it was like Christmas and everything like kind of rolled over where I didn't speak it as much. Since I've come back to it again, since I've recovered, it's like all that effort finally caught up in my brain. It was like in the moment I was learning it, none of that could like really sink in, that it felt it kind of like felt at immediate use for me. It was like everything still needed to be summoned up from my memory, but I feel like that 2 weeks has now moved all that effort that I put in recent history into my long-term memory, and goddamn, do I feel better now. Like, I have so many situations when the teachers come up and speak to me in Japanese, and I'm like, holy shit, now I know what you're saying, and I'll be able to, like, always still basically now, I'm still at, like, this yay level. But it's gotten much better. At lunch, like, with the kids, I can joke around a lot more. Just with, like, small little conversations at lunch when I'm talking to them, it's gotten much better. In like very recently as well, I would say. Okay, moving along. We got a lovely kid. Subscribers asked me about Paul Logan, but I thought it's too negative for me. I just think it's like to offer my 2 cents. Let's have, because this is the way that I'll discuss it, because I haven't put. Let's talk about Logan Paul is the stream name of this thing. It's that Logan Paul did something really, really stupid. Reprehensible, morally reprehensible. He did something really, really stupid. He came over and he did what he did. That means that first, he's an idiot. The people surrounding him are idiots because they couldn't see that this, like, you're gonna get fucking roasted for this. Second, there should be some consequence to it. Of course, he did something stupid. Naturally, you're going to have a backlash from people when they see that he's done something so stupid. But what drives me almost more insane than seeing him come in and do something so culturally insensitive, who makes it look so bad for foreigners, all this kind of stuff, is the people who make these videos as though they're the voice of the internet, they're the voice of suicide prevention, and they talk about him and they cut him to pieces without acknowledging at all that there is a massive percentage reason why they've created that video, which is related to the fact because it's a trending topic and they're a trend whore. Because they know if they speak about him, they're gonna get a ton of views, and they're moralizing it by saying, well, I need to speak out about this because what he did is so wrong. No, that's bullshit. You're doing this because you know that it's a juicy opportunity to get more attention than your shit channel ever gets because you never make any half-decent content. Or, even worse than them, these massive channels who don't even need to weigh in on this but are so addicted to the attention and to the growth that they would then do the same thing. So I really don't like the moralizing that goes along with it. It's like, guy did something stupid, who doesn't at that age, have a consequence for it, move on. And if you are going to make a video like I'm talking about, at least, you know, be a little more, like, honest with yourself in the mirror about why you made that video. Mr. Shovels. Ooh, how about YouTube changes to the partner program? Seems kind of shitty to me. Okay, here's my thoughts on that. We'll get into all the controversial things. I probably have. I don't know yet. I haven't seen a lot of people come out to talk about this, so I think I have an unpopular opinion. I'm not sure. But the way that I look at it is, where statistics do not normally indicate the whole picture, and in fact they can kind of like skew, they remove a human element from it, I think you gotta look at the statistics in this one, where I believe they quoted 99% of the people affected were making $2.50 per year. 1% more than that were making roughly $100 a year. Why do you give a shit if you've been removed from the monetization program if that's all you make? If that's enough to upset you about the new changes, you are either money obsessed or you are absolutely clueless about what it's going to take for you to grow on YouTube, and you have your priorities totally messed up. Like, and especially now, like, I'm not a creator hater, and I'm not a small creator hater. I have like a tiny channel still, but nothing has changed in terms of the way that people discover and actually have truly successful channels. You make good content and you get noticed for that. You don't obsess over the minutia of how do I get my view minutes up so I can finally make $5 a year or something ridiculous like that. I do not see this tightening up of the rules regarding entrance into a monetization program as anything to anybody who is truly here to create something that's like really amazing on YouTube, it's nothing more than a distraction. Totally just a distraction. You should be focusing on your channel, not caring whether or not you get an extra $2.50. Don't go out and buy a big-ass Starbucks coffee tomorrow, and you will have made as much money as you would have made in a year on YouTube, without showing people that you're incredibly petty. Yeah, I feel like that was a good rant. Nicholas, hi. Nicholas, welcome to the stream. Looking for any royalty-free music for your videos? Kind of like a part of the chat today, Nicholas, was the fact that I found this Epidemic Sound site that allows me to kind of bypass that issue now. But of course, if somebody wanted to send me some music and was like, "Hey, put this sweet music into a video, how does that sound?" I'd be like, "Fuck yeah, I'll put it in, provided it's good. I don't want to put shitty music in my videos." Dave, what is the reward for the photos folder? I'd be interested. So basically, Fujiwara, the way that it works is if anybody signs up for the $5 donation tier and above, so $5 and above, this is included at any level, but that's the lowest level you get it. I'm curating a shared folder now of the best pictures that I've taken around Japan, and anybody who's signed up for that tier of rewards, I send them a link to that folder, and they have access to basically this huge pool of pictures that I'm taking around Japan. And the way that I keep it fresh for people is that I would add to that folder constantly. Like, I just went to Tokyo last weekend to collaborate with Yummy Japan, and I took a bunch of photos like these ones you see here with this like beautiful coming of age girl here. And yeah, so it's constantly growing. You have this whole backlog of like cool photos, and that's basically it. It's just like a cool way to get some sweet Japanese photography for not that much money, and it helps me hugely. And also, it continually grows, because each time I go in and take more photos, then I add to it. Do I have any advice for newbie ALTs? I'm planning on becoming one in the future. What would be the most basic advice? Try not, as much as when you come over and you'll have like expectations of the experience, or things that you expect will make you happy about the experience. Say, for example, the most popular one would be, I want to live near a city. Try and forego some of the desires that you might have to allow your experience to flow, and you'll probably be surprised by what you didn't think you would enjoy, where you'd be like, you know, I never thought that I would live happily out in the countryside, but I did, and I met all these amazing people. Or if you wanted to live in the countryside and you get put in the city, you were like, oh, I thought I'd hate the city. Allow for things outside of your desired expectations, and that's kind of like the, let's say, the overarching advice that I would have. Fujiwara asks, did you pass the JLPT N4? I find out on the 24th. I'm confidently optimistic. How many times, Frank asks, how many times have you managed to get back to Canada since you've been in Japan? I want to move to Japan so badly, but I'm worried about how homesick I'll be. I go back once a year, basically, which is probably in excess of what a lot of people do. I think a lot of people aren't as in a fortunate situation as I am, that they don't necessarily go back once a year. Roland says, I'm Tikio Sam's dad. Oh, Roland. Well, then go to him, Roland. I think he needs you. There's a reptile show happening this weekend in Shizuoka. Don't suppose you live anywhere near it. Would make a good video. No, I don't. I do not live near there. Chris Lane says, hey, back at you, Chris Lane. Does it make any difference if I watch all the ads? I often skip ads because the commercials tend to be off-putting. I don't buy because, but I may boycott because of them. My advice is, like, it's always the same to people. It's like, if you even want to run ad blocker on my channel, I don't care. If you want to skip ads, I don't care. What matters to me at this stage of the game, if anyone has 2 brain cells to rub together, is that you build a larger community and you make better videos and not concern yourself with the 2 or 3 cents or cent that somebody that you get from somebody clicking on a video. If you do want to run them through, I totally appreciate it, and that's usually what you have to do. If it's one of these ads that says like it's 30 seconds and you can skip it, that will not give any ad revenue to the channel unless the ad plays in its entirety. The other format of ads are the ones where they like pop up like a banner, and those ones you can just click away, because I mean those are the ones that you usually have to you have to click on them and actually go to the ad for the creator to get any sort of ad revenue from them. But like I was just harping on about, I think you make good content, and then that content will support you. You don't obsess over this minutia to begin with, or try and like squeeze your subscribers for every ad cent that you possibly can. Here's a question, says Spirit. Do you know anything about the getting niche jobs? I have a weird hobby with sizable collection of super expensive gear and experience, but I need Japanese fluency. I mean, I would say almost all doors open as a result of fluency in Japan. When you do that, I mean, the most obvious thing is, of course, you're going to hear and see things that you don't, which you would otherwise be blind to if you didn't have that ability. For example, this guy I know who's kind of like a mentor for me, a mentor in passing, for learning the Japanese language. His job now is an international coordinator at university, and he saw the job that had been up posted for 2 years because he speaks N1 level Japanese. You don't get to see that job unless you have that fluency in the language. So yeah, you could find, who knows, like the kind of jobs and positions that you could have. I've been learning a lot actually about what it takes to start a business in Japan, and provided, I believe you need as a minimum investment about 50,000 US as a minimum investment. But then once you do, the Japanese, although they were like really foreigner phobic in however many years ago, but like within the past 5 even, they've been changing details of the visa process, which make it easier for people to get a manager visa, which is essentially for starting a business in Japan. Yes, I'm triggered. I'm triggered. The stream is over. You can burn in hell. Aditya asks, how are the universities in Japan compared to the rest of the world? I hope to study in Japan. I think they're good. I think you could have really good experiences in Japan. You do have... My buddy ran afoul of the sort of Japanese work ethic where he got insanely sick. And they just had these bizarre expectations for somebody who was like certifiably on death's door, and we're like, well, everybody else gets their projects in, and it's like, that's such a Japanese thing. It's like literally your work ethic comes before you even living, which is really unhealthy. But I mean, that's a sort of anecdotal personal experience, right, where I would never judge the whole Japanese education system in that light. So could be good, but I don't have any personal experience, so I kind of have to limit how much I talk about the Japanese universities. As a foreigner with a degree in arts, journalism and geography, is there really any career opportunity to get in Japan outside of being an ALT? Be honest. No, I refuse. It's only lies here. Let's say this. First of all, the easy one, you can be a translator. That's like what my buddy, actually, he's just moving up. That guy I was talking about who got the job as an international coordinator. He's thinking about being a translator, and that's a pretty specific job. Like, you really got to be into the language to go that direction. So you can be a translator. If you got to a high enough level, there's probably... actually, there's tons. I see postings... If your Japanese level is high enough, there would be tons of sales positions that you could do, because a lot of these companies moving into the whatever century, they need stronger international people in their companies for sales, and they just don't have it in Japan. And there's not a ton of Japanese people who are speaking really, really good English. And no, there's tons, whether it's sales, whether it's translation, whether it's TV. That's something I'd like to do almost just for the hell of it. It's not like a real passion, but I'm like, I love new experiences, and doing like Japanese TV, if my Japanese was better, I get a hell of a kick out of that. So yeah, there are lots of other things that you can do. I didn't realize the majority of the channel affected were that small. Yeah, looking at it that way, really. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's absurd, but it's another thing where it's like, I don't begrudge people the fact that they talk about it or they get upset, where it's like, to me, that's sort of like an expression of what you would expect. Of course, people are going to be up in arms in it, and people are going to have knee-jerk reactions to it and be on both sides, but to me, it's mostly ridiculous, where it's like, stop worrying about the minutia. What is the Bitcoin Litecoin scene like over there? The cryptocurrencies, I mean, if you follow this at all, Tristan, it's really interesting in Japan, where they've made it a legal currency in Japan. The largest bank in Japan will very shortly be offering cryptocurrency accounts for you. They have, more than anywhere else in the world, embraced cryptocurrency, and I think it's going to be to their benefit. They're quite prescient in their awareness of how this will change things and the kind of practical technology behind the blockchain, barring even each individual coin's strengths. So Japan, there's like the, I don't think she's like the Bitcoin queen or something like that. There's this, like, I guess you would call her like the Bitcoin evangelist, like this woman in Japan who's like going around kawaiiing up all the Bitcoin. It's huge. It's huge in Japan. You're not gonna find it in the sense that like the average person is like just talking Bitcoin on the street corner, but I mean, I put, again, ridiculous plug is ridiculous, on my Twitter again, that when I was at Shibuya Crossing the other day, there was a huge ass Bitcoin advertisement board. You don't see a lot of Bitcoin advertisement boards around the world these days, except like in Japan, you're seeing a lot more of that stuff really fast. Why is my Patreon link not in the description? That's a good point, Fujiwara. I don't know. I'll update it. Patreon.com. It would be sweet to edge closer to that gimbal, I tell you what. Oh, this jazz is nice. This is chillin'. Okay, so boom, there. Now it's in the basic info, so hopefully people can see that. Let's see. Melozo, Dave, I'm escaping Leo Palace next week. Good man. Leo Palace is a shithole, but you know, a necessary one for a lot of people. It was for me. All right, Fix. It was great to see you in the stream. So thank you for dropping by. We will catch you again later. Your apartment videos have been helpful. I remember you said you didn't pay key money or a deposit. But did you have to pay agent fees or guarantor? No, I did not. No, I did not. I had to do this sort of basic first and last month's rent up front. So I suppose a kind of deposit in that sense. But no, none of that other stuff. Also, I'm living in like the most like undesirable prefecture in Japan, so I think there's like they're a lot less stringent here. So that's the benefit, is like my cost of living is way lower than the average bear. Does your internet and mobile data have a data cap? My internet doesn't have a data cap, or though if maybe it does, it's probably like 150 gigs or something like that. My mobile data has a 7 gigabyte cap. Where can I buy Pocari Sweat in Canada? I don't know. I don't think they have it in Canada. Dave, when are you writing your next novel, and why aren't you fluent in Japanese yet? I don't know. I've failed. I've failed you, Megatron. The novel is just, it hasn't happened. It's for no lack of me filling my days with activity, believe me. I mean, if you see me here in a live stream because I was working so much on a video that I couldn't have it completed for the weekend, know this, that I am at least not wasting my time. Alright, Elmo, it was good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Catch you later. Nebas, what prefecture are you currently residing in? How long does it typically take for you to get to Tokyo? I live in Ibaraki Prefecture, and it takes me about 2 hours by train to get into Tokyo. Maybe like an hour and a half to the kind of like Tokyo outskirts. YouTubers back in the day didn't care about ad revenue. It was all about creating. Now people react on videos and talk about other people milking everything. I don't even mind Nessun, like, I want to be, again, I'm not going to moralize. I do care about ad revenue in the sense that I would one day like this to support me, but I think that even if you care about ad revenue, even if you care about this as being a means to support you in the future, to obsess about this minutia at the beginning is going against you. If you care about the money enough insofar as it supports you, make good content and the money will come. Or have a Patreon account where people deem your quality of content good enough that they want to support you on something like that. But this obsession with $2 or $3 just indicates that people have not figured out in their head yet what you essentially, like, kind of the basic scheme for being successful in a good way. A lot of people are successful on YouTube in ways that I'm like, man, I wouldn't care if I had 1 million subscribers. I wouldn't want to be making videos like that. But it's, you can still care about the money or supporting yourself from it, but care about it in an intelligent way, not in the way that people are regarding this change. That's a good question. It's, are there such things as pay raises for ALTs? It just totally depends on the company that you work for, and that's it. So if you work for Interact, like, good fucking luck. Like, Interact, it's not their business model. They hire in the thousands, they hire internationally. The strength for the people high up in that business is that they do not need to give pay raises to you. You are not worth that to them, and who could fault them? That's their business model. But international schools do, direct hire positions do, tons of positions. I mean, even I think Eon even gives you, to a certain degree, it's like it has a very obvious glass ceiling to it, but even like Eon gives you pay raises. So there are, they do exist, but it just totally depends on where you're working. Good catching up, Jibril. Thanks for dropping by. Have a good one. Good night. I make videos for fun, and my partnership, which is apparently independent of YouTube, earns a filthy, yeah, 320. Only the huge tubers make worthwhile money. I disagree with that too, Spirit. That's not true. Again, it's not huge YouTubers. I would say, I mean, they do, of course they do. It's people who make good content and attract enough of an audience. It doesn't have to be huge. I know a guy who's got, I know many people actually. I know a guy who's got around 80,000 subs. His Patreon, because the people love his content, he's being supported now by about $2,500 US a month. That's absurd for 80,000 people supporting you on YouTube. He's doing amazingly well because he makes great content. There's somebody like Dustin from Solo Travel Blog who runs a great Patreon, has a rabid fan base, does awesome with about 75,000. You do not need to be absolutely massive. You need to make good content and reach, yes, a certain, like, call it like critical mass of subscribers, but it's not always massive, and it is more reliant on the quality of content that you're making, in my opinion. I would debate somebody that, you know, if they came back at me with some whatever. Yodobashi camera accepts Bitcoin. So does Bic camera. Oh wait, that might be Yodobashi. Hey Dave, thanks for answering my questions. Following up on your advice for a career outside of that, translation TV, what level of Japanese should one strive for? Minimum would be like JLPT3, which is like you can totally talk about anything in Japanese. And occasionally somebody would say something you'd be like, what? And you'd ask, like, what would you say? You're like, mo chotto tsetsume shite kudasai. Like, please explain, like, a little bit more. Or, douyuu imi desu ka? Like, you know, what's the meaning of that particular thing? Like, you would do that. But really? At those levels, you want to go as high as you can go. Hey Dave, new subscriber. I found your channel while researching English teaching in Japan. As you're well aware with the 2020 Olympics, do you think there will be an oversaturation of ALTs? That's a really fascinating question. Because I know that they're going to ramp up, and increase the amount of ALTs. But I don't know about oversaturation. Here's a kind of like, call it like a silver lining to something quite ugly. Is that the Japanese people, and to me this is not a mystery at all, it's like it's bound up in their culture that they're incredibly humble. And compared to most cultures, although there's a lot of expressive people, they have a propensity towards being quite withdrawn, means that they more naturally study with language, because language is learned through its speaking, through its execution, through its use. And so a lot of people are good at studying in Japan, but not a lot of good people are good at speaking. So the end result of this is that they almost always need ALTs because they're almost always going to be bad at learning English as a result of their culture. Kind of is strange and sort of like, oh, that's good, but that's bad. Aesthetica, what's up, Dave? Just tuned in. What were some of your favorite games of 2017? Did you play many? My favorite game from 2017, and it was an old game, but it was like perfect because I don't really have a lot of time for games, was this bad boy right here. I'll flash it up on the screen. Oh man, this game is unbelievable. And I like sci-fi and stuff, and I love good stories, and it doesn't look like it's gonna show on the screen because I'm streaming right now. No. Okay, it's called FTL. I'm certain that people will know what that is. That was huge for me because you can get in, you can play for like whatever period of time, and then when you die, the game is over, and it's not like you're, oh, when will I put in another 100 hours on this game? Dropping the ball all over again. Damn it. Six says, you teach English in Japan, right? Did you use a program to get over there? Yeah, yeah, this is... I could drink a little booze to this. Do you use a program to get a job over there? Yeah, I came over by Interact. It was like I had a buddy who was like, "Yeah, man, just look on like Craigslist. There's tons of people posting there." And I was like, "Oh, and so I went on, got hired by Interact, came on, worked for them for entirely too long. It's such a credit to my friend who's now gone, but he was looking for other jobs when he was over, and as soon as he started looking, he was like, wow, everything is better than this. I was like, really? I should look too. I'm such an idiot. And then I found something better after many, many, many rejections. Yes, Fujiwara, I wrote a novel. Maybe I can, what can I do? I can put the link, I mean, it's an ebook. It's an ebook, but it's an ebook that is readable, and I'm very, very proud of it. Although, I mean, it's like you, oh man, subscribers dropping like flies. That sucks. Let's see, my ebook, yeah. No, oh, this song is kind of funny. I can see the uses for this. This would be like in a funny edit or something. I'll put the link to my ebook right there. That's in the description now. I'm from the west coast of Canada, Fujita. I'm from Vancouver Island originally. It's crazy. Like, I just meet more and more and more people from Vancouver or Vancouver Island who are interested in Japan. It's like, I don't know if there's something in the water there or what it is, but people, this is music. I like this, actually. This is cracking me up. Do you think the English jobs will be harder to get with the whole North Korea deal? Well, one of two things will happen. it'll be harder, or there'll be better jobs because they'll pay you more to try and entice you over here. All right, good night, Nesson. Thank you for dropping by the stream. Appreciate it. Milazzo, I am still a direct hire. Yes, as long as I have not reached that point where I could either like start a business in Japan, or I can support myself purely through the crowd support that I have from Patreon, or one day blow the channel up large enough, which is, I mean, that's the never-ending goal. It's the eternal goal. I'll be working as a direct hire. Greetings from New Zealand. Hello, Samurai Jackson. Welcome to the stream, and right back at you. Good morning from Japan. Still morning? Yeah. Okay, knowing that, I'll let commercials play for better people I follow, like you, that don't push ad and see responding to people like you do. It's a little I can do. Oh, that's really appreciated, Crown of Fall. Yeah, yep. It'll help out. Every little bit helps out. Primarily the views and interaction on the channel. That's the thing. But then that's really appreciated. Dave Forbes says, Dave, have you purchased any Wagyu beef from the supermarket? No, I haven't. I've had some damn good beef though, man. Like, actually, it's sort of like, you know it once you're here and you're living here for a little bit, but Ibaraki, where I live, actually is known for a couple varieties of beef. Is really, really good. There's a restaurant nearby me, and they have like Ibaraki Gyu, and it's amazing. It's so good. Like, but I mean, of course, I'm saying that without comparing it to Wagyu, but it's very, very, very good. I've had Wagyu before. Actually, the last job I worked before I came to Japan, I worked in some schwanky, drug-addled steakhouse before I came over. Black and Blue in Vancouver. If you want to check it out, go to Black and Blue in Vancouver for a ridiculous steak. It's quite a gong show there. A Kaiwa pay raises cap so quick. Don't expect much over 250. It just depends, Eric. It totally just depends. What up, homies? What up, Damian323 Sprint? I meant this in relation to ads exclusively. You should make a living with a few thousand, I'm sure. Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean, Spirit. I hear you. Hey Dave, if I choose to support you on Patreon, is there a limit to the number of times I donate per month? I support another YouTuber and it says to him that it's up to 3 times per month. Oh, if you support me on Patreon, the way that Patreon works is it's a once a month thing. For whatever tier that you support somebody there, it's just once a month. So if you support the person for $1, then you'll get nicked for $1 at the end of the month off of whatever card or account that you've supported them with, if it's PayPal or something like that. But once a month. I mean, maybe you can set it up at like a biannual donation, but I haven't seen that. No worries, Crown of Fall. My pleasure. I'm here to answer questions. Thank you for the question. Hey, Dave. After getting hired by a company, how fast do things move? I have a cat, and I couldn't do without him. But without 7 months of prep, he would be stuck in quarantine for 6 months. Well, it can move quickly, but it doesn't have to. I was like that half a year, the process that it took me, and I had a bunch of shit that I had to do before I came over. Yeah. So you could even say that to them. You could say, hey, I've got this cat that I gotta bring over, and so I gotta do this stuff. And so you could then arrange to have it that you didn't come over until you sorted that out with your cat. You can work around that. Hey Dave, do you have Tim Hortons within walking distance? No Tim Hortons out here in Japan, unfortunately. Yes, FTL is sick, Rob. It's an awesome game. Awesome game. I've been nerding hard, learning about all the new like processors and blah blah blah. I think in the next 2 years, I'd like to again upgrade the computer itself. I mean, I got a list. Of course, I have a list. I'll be right back. I got to turn down my aircon. It's way too hot. It's too hot. Okay. Ralph, I got hired by Interact. I'll be in the Kanto region. Hopefully I can use the advice given on your videos to get a sweet deal on an apartment. Right on. That sounds good, Ralph. Good to hear. Alright, Mar. Catch you later. Thanks for dropping by the stream. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Muramura says, Vancouver is the highest concentration of Asian people in North America. Maybe that causes some subliminal interest or something equally strange. Yeah. That was my joke when I came to Japan, actually. People said, why do you come? And I said that Vancouver just didn't have enough Asians. I was like, I need more of them. And so, where did I go but Asia? Jonathan, welcome to the stream. Right on. Japan helped me mellow out on so many occasions. Stay chill. Indeed I will. Aditya, when you decided to move to Japan to teach English, what was the reaction back home? Oh, everybody's like, sweet, Japan, that's so cool. It really was. I mean, you did have people... I am gifted. One thing I'm very lucky to have is an amazing circle of friends, like really, really great, supportive people. And a lot of them are these kind of like adventuring spirits. Like I got people who are doing so many crazy things, and they could kind of appreciate that desire to go and do something crazy halfway around the world. So I had great support for it, I can say, which like I keep harping on about here. I'm very, very grateful for. As a fellow gaijin working in Japan, who wants to become a direct hire in a school? What advice? Oh, you want to become a direct hire. What advice could you give? The simplest advice for that is whatever board of education you think that you might like to work for, follow their website, because you'll see job postings there, and it's bad to rely, like, I don't think I've ever seen a direct hire posting on Gaijin Pop before, and as well, Ohio Sensei might have a couple, but then of course the competition is so fierce that it's not very likely that you're going to get the position. So the way that you can help yourself along is to go to the actual websites of these boards of education, and that would allow you to get the step up. Post my PC specs. I can just say them. I got like an i7 6500, i7 6500, 16 gigs of RAM, NVIDIA 970M, 500 gigabyte SSD drive, 1 terabyte slave drive, and I mean, those are kind of the core statistics, right? Your RAM, your CPU, your GPU, your hard drive. Yeah, that's pretty good. But I mean, there's so many occasions editing where I'm like, huh, even with this beast of a machine, and granted, it's a laptop, it's not a desktop, so you have that diminished performance as well. I can see how in the next couple years, I'm like, yeah, for this sort of ambition I have for editing, I'm gonna need a more powerful rig eventually. Any way to teach without a bachelor's degree? Ah, the eternal question. It arises again. Thank you for asking, Tyler. Oh, Ferdy. Hello, Ferdy. Yeah, my pleasure responding to your email. That's what I do. People write, I answer. Yeah, so if you don't have a bachelor's degree, it means that you cannot teach in the public school system. You are not totally barred from the country, however. So if you don't have that, then what you can do is you can work in the private sector under an arts and humanities visa in something like Peppy Kids Club in an Eikaiwa private school. Definitely tougher to get in, and you'd want to pad your resume with something like a TESOL or a TEFL, one of those two. But you can get in, but it is harder. See a lot of people in the chat that I work in Japan are already there. That's true. Yeah, a lot of people. It's cool. Yeah, there's definitely a great international squad. Lots of people from Japan, too. Being that you're from Vancouver Island, I was born in Victoria, right on. I'm from Mill Bay. Do you see the weather is comparable? What do you miss the most? Oh man, the thing I miss the most, although I retreat back to it every single summer, is the Vancouver summers. Because in Japan, what's most horrendous about being here is the humidity. Like everything else in terms of their seasons is better than Canada. Their winter, their fall, their spring, better, 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 better. Their summer, I'd almost throw away all 3 of those seasons for how much I hate summer in Japan. It's horrendous because of the humidity. And so that's why I retreat during the summer back to Vancouver, and you get off the plane and you like taste the air is so sweet from the surrounding endless forest and beautiful sea air. It's amazing going back in the summer. It's like, and because I live here for the course of the rest of the year, it's like a magical experience every time. Like the last time I got off the plane, like I think the attendant even said to me, she was like, "You look so happy." I was like, I am so happy. Oh, it's good to be out of Japan for the summer. Chris asks, any info on bringing my own daughter with me while I'm in ALT? There's the only advice I would say is that it's not even advice. Just be aware of the fact that you, on all your taxes and stuff, you would declare a dependent that you have. Not a big deal. I know many people with children over here, and they just declare their dependents, and you're all good on your taxes. This music seems sort of like Charlie Brown Christmas kind of thing. An ALT is an assistant language teacher. Jacob says, would you say to all of the Dream Crusher videos circling out on YouTube about how awful life is for foreigners in Japan and how they feel like second-class citizens? It's funny you bring that up, Jacob. I allude to that in the new video that I'm working on. That is actually that's in there. So watch for that. You people who made it to the stream, you get a little like foreshadow of that being discussed. I think, although not absolutely to a degree, we craft our own realities through our perspectives, and I think a lot of people who are miserable are always going to be miserable until they learn, until they change their perspective, until they do whatever they need to do to change their situation. Like my classic example of this is someone who works in a really, really shitty job. This is in Japan, this is anywhere, and then just bemoans how cruel the world is to them, that they're surrounded by these toxic people, they don't get paid enough, and life is forever horrible, and do absolutely nothing to get a new job. Where, of course, then your reality is that everything is horrible and shitty, but it's your responsibility to do something about that reality. And so I think that a lot of these Dream Crusher videos, where they're obviously not offering a balanced opinion, because life is generally speaking quite balanced. There's a lot of horror and there's a lot of beauty, and it's somewhere in between that we're always existing, not usually out at the extremes. And when someone purposely goes out of their way and makes a video like that, they're doing it for the reason that people can't help but watch a train wreck. People always want to see what's nasty. We are genetically predisposed to watch for what is bad, because historically that's what kept us alive. It's like, oh, there's a tiger there, that's bad, watch for it. Oh, there was something that horrible happened here, I don't want that to happen to me, so I should look at it. And so it's a really easy way for people to garner views, but in no way do I see it being a balanced opinion whatsoever. To be completely naive and say that it's just a wonderland over here, of course it's not. But at the same time, it is not some horrible place where everyone is treated like a second-class citizen. I am humbled by... Listen to this. This dramatic music came on at the perfect time. I am humbled by the incredible, nay, heart-achingly beautiful way that I've been treated by the Japanese people. Like recently, when I got influenza, and the tea lady at my school, because I don't know the Japanese word for her position, came by my house. She wanted to know. I got a message from her. She said, "Genki desu ka?" And I said, "Genki janai." And she came by my house and made me a veritable feast of food. And this woman, it's like I'm almost going to tear up here in the stream. This woman does not make a great deal of money. This woman works endlessly. And She wanted nothing but to offer me this kindness. It was incredible. And I have had repeated experiences like this. I'm getting the music combined with the speech, I'm getting a little emotional. It's been incredible. Now, I've also had experiences where I've been, like, people have been totally racist to me because humans are afraid of what they don't understand. So, that's my little, that's my rant on that. Let's see. I'm too old. You're not too old. I'm too old to suddenly get my degree and move there to teach with larger groups. I'm a well-seasoned server engineer. Okay. Yeah, Jonathan, you can totally do that. Like I say, and you could work for some international company. And you'd be set up. I mean, it is an engineer of infrastructure. I mean, you overqualified, my friend. You're doing just fine. Computer specs again. Okay, GPU is the GeForce 970N, so the mobile, obviously, because it's a laptop. I have an i7 6500, not K. It's not overclockable. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM, and then I have a 500 gigabyte solid-state hard drive plus a 1,000 terabyte, or not 1,000 terabyte, that'd be awesome, a terabyte slave hard drive. What's up, Bert? Welcome to the stream. Yes, hail indeed. Blyce Ika. Hi, Dave. Love your channel. My question may not be appropriate for discussion. Ooh, edgy. Would you know the best app or website like Tinder, but for dating, meeting Japanese ladies who are into casual dating? That's fine. We can talk about dating. What else are we gonna do here? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That is the content of my channel. Always has been. I would say, I mean, the easy one is obviously Tinder. You can use Tinder. That's super popular. Another one, which is really good, is Bumble. Bumble works really well. Another one, which is sort of like the stealth dating app, is, although not really, everybody knows that it gets used in this way, is Hello Talk. Because so many people are on there just to speak to foreigners, to meet them and date them, as much as it's used as a language exchange. So yeah, I would recommend those. Those are good. 2 things to extend your laptops. Make sure to overclock it a little while running on wall power, and check GPU acceleration in Premiere A if you use it. Sounds good. Your GPU might not be enabled by default. Yeah, good call. Build a PC next, but I'm sure the GTX 1080 will be cheaper. Go nuts with SLI. I'd probably just go with the 1080, but again, like you say, as the cost of it decreases. And I won't be doing a laptop again because I'm quite sure I would be here in Japan long enough that it's like I'm not going to be creating one back in the other direction. And I would be going with the 8th generation Coffee Lake chipset from Intel. You bet your goddamn ass I would. Should stream more often. Yes, but then it wouldn't be a scarce resource, would it? And people wouldn't show up and no one would love me. No, just kidding. Maybe I should stream more if I can find time. It'd be cool. Bert asks in full caps, the surest sign of a deranged mind, Dave, do you have a solution to the inevitable US government shutdown? Bitcoin. I agree with Spirit. Check your GPU performance. I will. Your life does depend on me. No. Yes, it does, Bert. You're quite right. Thanks, Bert. Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Ferdy says, how true are all the ALT Eikaiwa teachers' salaries are below the poverty? Oh, man, that's, again, such dramatic talk. So, yeah, poverty for who? These kids who are, like, scavenging junkyards all day? Maybe, like, not so bad. Basically, the average... I like this music. Suddenly, we're very cultured. This is cool. Here's the thing. So, 250,000 yen, which I would say is totally the average, 250,000 yen per month, is not so bad when you first arrive. I haven't made a lot of these teaching videos recently, so I guess like people don't see me having said this stuff that much. But when you first arrive, it's not so bad because, surprise, motherfucker, you don't have any history of income in Japan, so you don't have any taxes. So you're doing all right. So you don't have to pay taxes in that first year. It's like your bonus year in life. And you don't have to pay into the pension. You don't have to pay into, what is the other thing? The healthcare system. So in that first year, you're fine. But in your second year, you now have a record of income, and 250,000 starts to become, this is horrible. I'm gonna have to edit this out. It becomes less, much less. And then here's a shiesty thing that I talked about in my older videos, is that it's just such a manipulation of information that companies like Interact are doing, where they're telling you the truth, sort of, where they say that your salary is 250,000 yen. What they don't elaborate on, and I wouldn't elaborate on if I was running their business either, is the fact that for so many months of the year, that's prorated. So you're not even making 250,000 per month, because 4 or 5 months of the year, you're getting a prorated 50%, 60% of that amount of income. So when you first arrive, it's okay, you can make your way along on it fine, but I would only probably want to do that for like a year or two. Even if you didn't move out of that pay grade, is it below the poverty line? Hell no. You'll just be a person who doesn't really have any money for anything, but you'll be subsisting. This music is hilarious. I'm really enjoying the like weird quirkiness of the music. Fujiwara says, if I had the opportunity to even be in Japan, I would be happy with a small room and tatami mat. It does teach you a sort of minimalistic lifestyle, which is cool. To live with less, I think, is a benefit. Then you would, what would I say? Then you would appreciate so much more when you do have stuff. I mean, this is the classic thing, right? That someone who's lived in the lap of luxury for their entire life has been inured, has become numb to any sort of stimulus, because it takes so much more to excite them. So if you live minimally, when you live like a baller, then thereafter, it'll be much more rewarding for you. How did we not know you were going live? We're gonna do it live! Do you think any Japanese men would date a transgender woman? Asks Marion. Yeah, I'm sure they would. I mean, people are dating them all over the world, so why not in Japan? Spirit, Intel for media is not a good idea. Premiere and AE can and will utilize the insane multi-coreness of AMD, Ryzen, and Threadripper's CPUs. That's not my understanding, Spirit. I'd understand that the CUDA processors, particularly in the Adobe suite for After Effects and stuff, uses Intel more efficiently. But hey, we're always learning. Crew no Genki, I've taught English for a time now. I'd love to go to Japan and get a job, but is it difficult to pass from that to a company kind of job like translating? No, it's not if you speak the language. All things are possible when you speak the language. What do you think when you hear Ford Taurus? I think of a car, and then I think of a bull. Not to get all political, but what do you feel is the average Japanese opinion of the current U.S. leadership? Well, if you were on my Twitter account, I mean, it really cracked me up the other day when I was in the onsen after going to the gym. Love my onsen, get in there, do a nice hot sauna, get a sweat. It's really good. And then onto the TV comes Trump talking about other countries as shitholes. And I'm the only white guy in this packed room of Japanese people, and you could just feel the, like, everybody kind of, like, looks over at me, and I'm just like, I have no opinion of this, I have no opinion of this, I'm not him, I am white, but I'm not him. That when you call other countries shitholes, you don't need a degree in world politics to know that other countries are like, that's probably very immature leadership. Like, maybe even somebody in that country might be like, man, it's a shithole here. But to say, as a world leader, where people turn to you for some kind of like maturity and leadership, to say that on a world stage is, it's incredibly short-sighted, and I think definitely degrades the opinion of the U.S. leadership in other countries. I don't think you need a political degree to figure that one out. Fujiwara, what is your dream car? I know you had the Infiniti G37, I think at some point. Yeah, I had the Nissan 350 GT Skyline. I guess it's called Skyline here. Okay, so I like it's the Toyota. And this would be like, this is kind of like my, it's still cool, but it's not a supercar. It's just like, man, that'd be really cool. Would be the FRS or BRZ. I mean, they're basically like the same car, but yeah, that would be the dream car that I would go with. They're like, to me, they're this perfect amalgamation of like, you got performance, and then now because I care about fuel efficiency, they got great fuel efficiency. So I would say, yeah, the FRS BRZ. How much money are apartments in Osaka? That's a good question, Hayden. I would probably, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd imagine as a major city center and a popular one. Depending on like how centrally you lived, I would say it would range between 70 and over 100,000 yen for a not too large apartment. CUDA cars are in the NVIDIA GPUs. The stuff that is not GPU accelerated scales well across cores threads. And that's what I thought, because they had hyper-threading. Is what gave them an advantage. Hyper-threading in the Intel GPUs. Or CPUs, sorry, not GPUs. And then ha 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 ha. Holy shit. I caught up to the comments, that's cool. Let's see what we got. I think that one's cool. This picture's cool with the dude walking here. That was some good framing. We got that like cool depth of field. Thank you very much. Yeah. Dying here. Thank you very much, Fujiwara, for the donation. I really, really, really appreciate that. I think I'm not absolutely certain, but I have this like sneaking suspicion that you've actually donated to me in every single, there's a nice slur, every single stream that I've been in, which is absurd. So thank you very, very much. That's also the cost of my book. So if for donating on Patreon, so if you want at DaveTrippin@gmail.com, if you want to email me, if I haven't already, I'll send you a copy of my book. Which, yeah, just as a little thank you. Oh, what's this? What's this I see? Oh, this is very cool. Okay. Big shout out to Mr. Conley. I just got an update from my Patreon. You have joined the $5 pledge. Thank you very much. Today I will be sending you the copy of my ebook and as well the link to the shared picture folder. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. That's awesome. Oh, that's cool. I like the color in that one. Kevin asks, hey Dave, just asking, why are you not uploading videos lately? Okay, that's a fair question, and I can answer it, Kevin. So the last video I put up, let's see. So if I go to my videos here, let's do a quick rundown on the times. So one of them was 4 weeks ago, and then following that was a video that was released 2 weeks ago. So the last video that I made for the channel was, where is it? It's the one that I was going out nightclubs and stuff. That took me over 40 hours to edit. And so that's working like an additional full-time job on top of the full-time job that I work. So it's this question of, do I get more content out or do I get quality content out? And I was like, I want to make quality content for the most part. Not that I wouldn't do smaller videos. Now that I've done that most recent video, the video that I am now following up with, that I've been working on for the past 2 weeks, is now at an excess of 30 plus hours again that I've worked filming, writing, editing, voiceovering for this new video, and so that's why it's not. It's totally a question of, like, I have worked nearly every single day this week on the new video, but I mean, I could have even, like, not done this live stream and had no sleep for the last 2 days and then put out a video, like, for this weekend, but it wouldn't have met the quality that I want the video to have, for people to really enjoy what I'm making. And that's why I'm doing the live stream as a sort of like, hey, here's a new video. So yeah, that is the reason. It's a question of time input for output. Could you Freddie asks, could you bypass the must be a native English speaker requirement for a dispatch company by taking a job with an ACAIO and then after moving to public schools for more stable working hours? You could not, Ferdy. You cannot get the work visa required for a public school position without being a native speaker of English, unfortunately, in that case. Glad I could support the cause, and I'm going to support you on Patreon. You're a kind man, Fujiwara. Thank you very, very much for doing so. It's that thing, edges me closer and closer and closer until I can say, hey, I don't teach anymore. And, Kevin, I'll have all my time dedicated to making videos, and then you can absolutely expect there'll be a more, there'll be more content put out because, hey, I mean, you work full-time on your videos, so, like, yeah. Yeah, right, like, I do, it's this double-edged sword. It cuts both ways, where you're like, yeah, I got somebody out an awesome quality video, and then they're like, yeah, but I sat around for 2 weeks and I wanted to watch something new. Like, I think about this in, this is cool, we got some, like, classic rock going on. I think about this in, thank you so much, Fujiwara, that's awesome. I'll definitely be hitting both you guys up with the tier rewards. I love the show Black Mirror, and I thought, like, how long did it take these guys to make this show? Each episode alone, right? I'm sure that took them some long-ass time to polish it up, to get the quality of it, to get the actors to film it, to edit it, to everything. And then I'll finish a season of Black Mirror in, like, 2 days, and I'm already hungry for more right away, and I'm like, whoa. That's probably not fair to the creators, where I'm like, man, why did they take so long to get the next season? I'm like, actually, when I think about it, it's probably reasonable. There's no way, I think, that you could match the human desire for awesome new content. Which is kind of cool, actually, because obviously I want you guys to want to watch stuff. So the fact that you're like, man, if you're saying, why haven't you uploaded more videos recently, that's a good sign, because it means that you want to watch videos. So I'm going to do my, you know, I'm never going to fall off the wagon. I'm going to keep working away at that. Have you gotten the results back from the JLPT? Not yet, Jason. Not yet. That's going to happen on the 24th. I thought it was the 23rd, but it's the 24th that I'll be hearing back. Oh yeah, this guy's just shredding. Just shredding. Oh man, that one's cool. I like the blue and the gray. You got the blue up here on the right. Timeless. Okay, I'll make a note of that. It's rare for me to not have heard of some cool new sci-fi thing, Spirits, so yeah, I'll make a note of that. Excuse me. Okay. Next video, I can tell you guys at least the plan, the sort of like release date plan. So it's going to be, this next one is called the 3 stages of working in Japan. That's the video you can expect to see released on Tuesday. The 3 stages of working in Japan. The next one's going to be the collaboration video that I did for Yummy Japan. That'll be coming out next Saturday. And then, because I see an endless list of questions and requests for it, I'm going to do, excuse me, a more higher professionally produced video that goes over the cost of living in Japan. Because I think that that's something that people really want, whether it's in the community of people who already watch what I make, and just, I think it would draw many, many, many more people to the channel. What Let's see. Thanks for taking the time. Need to head off. Right on, Freddie. Thank you for dropping by the stream. Appreciate it. Take care. Catch you later. What's that called? Timeless. Timeless show. Okay. How could you stay in Japan if you leave your job? The way that you would do that, wannabe pro, is you would start a business. To me, that's the most practical. If you wanted to stay for a longer term period of time, you need to save some cash, so that becomes, excuse me, a possibility for you. But you would start, you would start a business, and then it's like, as long as you're working on your business, you can stay in Japan and you work for yourself. I mean, I believe that's obviously what Simon and Martina have done. They've registered as a business here in Japan, and so they likely have manager visas, and allows them to dedicate their time 100% to the YouTube channel that they work on. Holy shit, we just got a mega pledge here on Patreon. Thank you so much. I'm assuming that this was Fujiwara. So big thanks to you, Fujiwara, like I said, for yourself, as well as our good friend there, Mr. Conley. Excuse me. God damn it, I'm dying. I'll be hitting you guys up with the tier rewards shortly. So thank you so much. I just got that update. That's awesome. Do you think you'll ever make... Oh, yeah, the walking around. I'll say this, Frank. In that new video that I'm going to make, I just told you this sort of schedule of stuff that I'm releasing, the next 3 videos. I think an aspect of that video would be me out and around. In just like in the neighborhood, where like I wanted to make it less static. I was like, I don't want to just stand in front of the camera. I want to, like, if I'm talking about the cost of food, I was like, I want to wander around a grocery store. If I'm talking about like housing, then I'd like walk through the housing area and I'll like point at houses and say how much they would cost. So that aspect might show up in that video. So I do appreciate that people like seeing that kind of stuff. Okay, there it is. There's Mr. Conley. That's Rob. All right, cool. I think Shohei Otomo did a street art piece on the wall last time I saw. Oh, that's cool. Nintendo UK says, did vlogging help you look back on how far you've come in a foreign country, and would you recommend it for someone to become an ALT? I'd say, for me, I look at it almost from like a numbers crunching creative perspective. I look back at the old content that I've created less on the channel so much as a record of literally what I was doing, but how I've grown in terms of what I'm able to produce creatively. So like I look back and I'm like, man, that first webcam video, 320p or whatever the hell it was, to like the most recent video that I did where I'm now getting like more adept at After Effects and more complex editing. That's really rewarding for me. I don't like to look too much back at history because it sort of reminds you of how old you are. But I do find it for that, like, man, look at how far I've come. Like, I didn't know how to load like a video file into a editing software before, and now I can do other stuff. So that's cool. Would I recommend somebody becoming an ALT? Yeah, sure. I mean, if that's what you want to do. So, yeah, of course. I mean, not obviously for everyone. Like, I'd like to allow for, like, the traditional lifestyle where a couple meets, they stay in their own hometown, and they marry, and they have kids, and they grow old, and they die. But if you feel that itch for travel and adventure, I think there's no better opportunity than you'll find than being someone who's an assistant language teacher, because like kind of that job immediately indicates you're going to be teaching another language. So that means you're in a country where it doesn't speak that language. So that means you're in a place incredibly foreign, which means that you're probably going to be exposed to a different culture, which means that you're going to have a really cool like adventure in your life. So really good. If adventure's your thing, it's a great job. Dustin, did you know that your channel just broke 3 million total views? That's an epic level. It's a distraction. that number doesn't mean anything to me. It's, am I still growing? No, just kidding. Yeah, that was really, really awesome. I think you definitely need to acknowledge these milestones to kind of remind you when you're down in the dumps, something's going bad, that you're like, no, look how far you've come. Shit's going well. The sort of competitor in me, though, like I'll compare, like, what have I done with those 3 million views? And I look at some people who have 1 million views and they have something like 70,000 subscribers. And it's all a fire for me. It's just like, must improve, must get better, must make better content. So I'm proud of the accomplishments, but insofar as they spur me onwards to greater things. Lanny asks, so what's going on in Japan now generally that a foreigner should bear in mind? What specifically as it relates to a foreigner? I'm in such a, I don't interact with many other foreigners. I live in the countryside as I do. As it specifically relates to foreigners, I'll have to come back to that one, Lenny. I don't want to just give you like a hacked answer. And it's a good question. Can a first-year teacher afford a place in Sendai? Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of these companies, when you come over, Hayden, they'll actually set up the housing for you. Very likely you're going to end up in Leo Palace, something the equivalent of. And those Leo Palaces are probably going to run you between like 55,000 to 62,000 yen. And then that'll be automatically withdrawn. Oh, my back. Will be withdrawn from your account. And you'll do just fine. Yes, welcome to the club, Rob. Also our good friend, Fujiwara. Let's see. Kyosuke, 1987, asked Dave, would you say it's better to apply for work while in Japan rather than by Skype and email? Last time I spoke with several people working, it's better to apply in person. Okay, so of course it's better to apply in person, and of course there are more jobs available to people who can apply in person, but who can meet that requirement, right? Like maybe you're locked to the fact that you're like, I have a job that I still maintain where I need to save money before I go over to Japan. So the option for you is not available to apply in person. If it's something you can do, though, of course it's better. My eye keeps going to the doorway graffiti. So that black mark. Yeah, it looks blurred. Person, ghost, which is in contrast with the others in the background. The blue stripe with the yellow is a nice splash of color. Yeah, it's like, it's kind of, I feel like this shot was almost unintentionally well composed now that I look at it after the fact. Rob Strange says, have you seen Blade Runner 2049? Not only is it a great movie, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I have watched Blade Runner twice by myself in the theaters alone, and once I dragged people to it. So I've seen Blade Runner 3 times. I spent way too much money on going to see that movie because it was, like, for me, the best movie of 2017, and also quite inspiring in a different way. I'll go on a little tangent here that it's often frustrating, and I empathize with this with creators where they're like, I'm trying not to go and be that like trend whore, and I'm trying to make good content, but good content doesn't garner the same attention as being a trend whore. It's not worth it. I'll be a trend whore and I'll build my channel that way, and then I'll have some integrity. But I looked at Blade Runner where I'm like, man, I'm not hitting my goals that I want to get. I'm not reaching enough people as much as I am proud of what it is that I'm creating. And then I watched Blade Runner, which is this towering, monumental achievement of creativity, cinema, sound, art, everything, and was an absolute blowout failure in terms of its exposure and box office success. And I was like, there's a good opportunity to take a step back. And I was like, if this masterpiece no one watches and no one pays attention to, who the hell is supposed to watch your YouTube videos that like a single man created, and so on and so forth? So I was like, that's right. The purpose of making good things should always be grounded in that no matter how many people see it, it's still the shit. It's still like one of the most amazing things that you've ever seen. And I was like, okay, so if Blade Runner can't get watched, then I shouldn't worry about if I'm not being watched by tons of people yet. And I feel like it's not even that the critical acclaim matters. It's that you yourself know what you made is really, really good. And I think Denis Villeneuve, and I know that Ryan Gosling and all the people who participated in the creation of that film, I know that they take great satisfaction from the fact they're like, no, I can have the confidence to know that this is a masterpiece. You know, the world be damned in terms of exposure and whether or not tons of people watched it. Empress Lania says, you know, Dave, I have big plans. I guess more like hopes for you. Money Moves 2018. Hope you considered some sort of international travel magazine. That would be cool. International travel magazine. I'd be down for that. I like travel. I like magazines. I think 2018 is going to be a big year for me because the first video that I released as of 2018 was the most recent one where I did like that club tour, and it was like, man, now seeing where the channel has come, I'm like, if that's my benchmark for what I'm releasing in this year, it's like, what a place to have started. If I continue on with the self-education, with the like funding through Patreon, the improvements of the channel, by the end of this year, the channel's going to be in a great place, like in terms of the sort of stuff that I'm producing and people are able to enjoy from it. So very, very exciting year. Let's see. A distraction almost got me. I've distracted you, Lania? Fujiwara says, Dave, favorite beer? I would always go for, it's Okanagan Springs Okanagan Springs 1516 in Canada. That's like the best summer, easy drinking, delicious beer. I love that beer. Really, really good. If you need encouragement, your live stream has 50s for the past 2 hours, almost double the last stream. That's pretty cool. That's true, Fujiwara. Very good point. Yeah, this I know actually to be anywhere near 60, I was like, that's really good. People are tuning in. This is very, very cool. Mr. Just got your book. What inspired you to write it? Mr. Shovels asks. The book initially started from I had envisioned. I love what would you call it? It's like I really enjoyed when I was younger these sort of like young boy with his companion books. Like I really enjoyed this book Gentle Ben. I really enjoyed this book Shiloh. Like it was like one is this case where this kid has this huge bear as his pet. The other is this kid has this dog that becomes his pet. And the sort of like coming of age and companionship. And I was thinking of like it would be really cool in a sort of, I don't know if you guys have seen The Neverending Story, but the luck dragon Falcor at the kid's always getting picked on in the movie, and at the end of the movie he's riding Falcor and they chase down the bullies until they jump in to the trash can at the end of the movie, and he overcomes these bullies through his dreams and so on and so forth. And I was thinking of writing a book that would be a sort of companion novel but with like a darker edge, where this kid was always bullied, and he comes across this gargoyle, and the gargoyle sort of like inflicts his revenge that this kid always wanted to get for the way that he was bullied. But then the kid has to come to his like coming of age is to realize that whatever cruelty's done to you, getting revenge doesn't complete you necessarily. Kind of like The Revenant, that movie, that idea that much as we might want revenge, it's not fulfilling in the end. But then as I like started to flesh out and write the characters of the book, I enjoyed less the kind of revenge aspect of it and more focusing on the relationships that boy would have in his family, that and elsewhere that would lead him to that kind of temptation. So it actually is, it's sort of like a horror book, but the heart of it is really that it's about this dysfunctional family, and I wanted to tell the story of that family and how they'd fallen apart. And that's what inspired it. So there's my little story for the book. Also, thank you very much, Mr. Shovels, for grabbing the book. I really, really appreciate that. I hope you enjoy it. Bob asks, how do you keep from being lonely in Japan? I lived in Narita in 2014, but I felt isolated. So the way that I deal with that is to throw myself into my work, as well as into my training at the gym, to my meals, like the planned eating that I do. But I'll be, for full transparency, I experience like crushing loneliness. Again, I enjoy as well because it's, when I discuss it in these live streams, it's less exploitative, because it's not like I'm trying to say, look at me, because nothing in the title suggests that we would talk about this stuff. So I can be a little more frank about these kind of things, and nobody sees it as me trying to exploit this kind of thing for more attention. But like around New Year's and Christmas, I spent that time alone. There was no one here, and it was crushing, horrible loneliness, which we should laugh at. We can always laugh at the tragedy. So it happens, but I always remind myself in those times that everything is in passing. Everything is in passing if you work on some sort of passion that you have, and to accept in those moments when you are experiencing that loneliness that there's nothing wrong with it. It's kind of a reminder of your humanity. Like I think Louis C.K. was talking about how we try and often distract ourselves from feelings like that, where they actually are a great opportunity to reflect, where loneliness to me is the greatest indicator of how much you appreciate other people. So in those times, I was like, wow, like I really do in some sense need my friend, need the people close to me, need my family, and I should appreciate them. So turn the loneliness into a lesson. It's useful. Don't try and get rid of it. And then, not to dwell in it forever, do things that get you out of it. Like I don't want to. You don't want to end up the emo kid who's just like sitting there, you know, eating cake all day. So yeah, that's why I do all the other creative stuff. Because, and I think as well, if you work on creative things, you almost inevitably end up in lonelier spaces, because you have to accept being apart from your social group more often, because video ain't going to complete itself. You got to accept that there's going to be times where you have that happen, where you work on things where it's going to be a lonely time. So those are my reflections a little bit more on loneliness. Have you met other YouTubers like John Dobb of Only in Japan? I've met other YouTubers, although I've not met him. What have I done? I've met... well, obviously, I've met Charles, and I've met, what's his face? That's so bad. Charles and Victor from Yummy Japan, and they were amazing guys, really awesome guys. I knew as soon as I met them, I was like, this is going to be an awesome collaboration. These people are really, like, wonderful, kind, professional, great people. I've met, of course, if you watch my channel, you know that I'm good friends with Dustin. He was like, he came to my Christmas party last year. He's an amazing person. I quite embarrassingly, it was like I went off on the wrong foot. I felt bad for this, where I believe her name's what is her name? Well, the girl's channel is called Strawberry Mochi, and where I was looking for people to collab with at the excuse me. I was looking for people to collab with at the last Hanami, and I came across her, and I think she actually handled the interaction well, given the sort of like foot in the mouth mistake that I made, where I introduced myself, and I was like, hey, it's nice to meet you, Michaela. And she's like, I'm not Michaela. I was like, oh, shit. So I felt incredibly awkward meeting her, to have done that to her, where I was like, that's immediately going to put somebody at odds with you, that you don't know their name and you've tried to introduce yourself. And then I saw her in some other video. Again, this was like to her credit, where it was like smash or pass the guy was doing, and I came up and she said she would pass on me, and I was like a little bit heartbroken. I was like, you don't want to smash? Oh well. But at the same time, she had the opportunity there to say in that video, you know, that asshole didn't even know my name when he met me. And she didn't. She was like, no, I just don't like to smash everyone. I'm not like you, to the other person who was in the chat. And I was like, you know, that shows some restraint, not to just shit on someone who you had that kind of awkward interaction with. So I was like, she seems a bit skittish, but I from what I've seen of her, I was like, you know, maybe that Kelly girl's all right. And, you know, maybe I collab with her one day. I don't know. She's into like, she's more looking at her channel now. It's kind of, it's like music and beauty. So, I mean, I love music, but I don't know. Obviously, I don't do beauty products or anything like that. But you can always get creative with different people. You could do that. Who else? Who else have I met? Met some. There's a guy named Doga TV, has a smaller channel. Seems like a really, really nice guy. I met Jason is lost in Japan. Seemed like a really, really nice guy. I reached out. I mean, obviously shooting far above my grade, but I reached out to Abroad in Japan, Chris, and I reached out to Simon and Martina. Both credits to their character. They do justice to their reputation. Both responded to email, but we're just too busy to do any kind of a collaboration. I was like, you guys got hundreds of thousands of subs, and in the other case, millions, so why would you collab with a guy who's 22,000? But thank you for responding to my email. Who else? Other people? Obviously, like I met Hiko Simon. He's like a class act. He's a really nice guy. I've met Victor a couple of times. We actually talked about collaborating together, and it always got derailed. We never got around to doing it together. I mean, he's really busy with his family, so nothing really ever came of that. And it was, again, I didn't want to put on my channel a bunch of these like low camera quality Skype conversations, which is kind of what we would be forced into, where that's not what I wanted to do with my channel. So it kind of like naturally fell at the wayside. Yeah, so I've met some. I met Rachel and June at one party, and they were there again, a class act, just like very, you know, professional, kind people. Lania says, so Dave, will you have live chat closer to mid-March when the new ALTs are coming and so that you can be asked all sorts of questions? Yeah, I'll do another live stream around March. That would be cool. Do that like forever who's like in this, who's coming over to teach, or it's like a dedicated work question and answer. I could do that. How long would you wait after a Kaiwa to interview before the callback? Before they called you back? Let's see. I don't know. I would expect to call back within 2 weeks. One more question from Hayden. I'm going to university not for an English teaching degree, but I may want to become an English teacher in Japan after I finish. So what do I have to become? Oh, you can have any degree. If you have any degree, it's fine. You're totally fine. No worries there. Bill asked, do you like Kubrick or Andrei Tarkovsky? I really liked Salaries, and I really liked Space Odyssey. I really liked The Shining. I do like Kubrick, absolutely. And although Andrei Tarkovsky, I don't really know that well, but if he did Salaries, Barry Lyndon did Salaries, but so I don't think I've seen Andrei. Yes, Neverending Story is amazing, so good. I love the what is the Weekend song that's so obviously an homage to the Neverending Story, like with the two sphinxes that like shoot in one of the trials. He has to like go across and show that he's not afraid, and they like they shoot people who like don't go through with a pure heart. What is that? It's like the most Michael Jackson song The Weeknd has ever produced, and it's awesome. Dave, I'm learning the kana. Should I use apps to memorize them, or should I learn how to write hiragana and katakana too, also using remembering the kanji? I would say as long as if you use Anki and you use memorize and you use remembering the kanji, remembering the kanji is that important step for non-Asian learners to partition the aspect of writing away from the meaning. So as long as you're doing that for yourself, dedicating a portion of your kanji learning education to just drawing the figures, then you'll be good, because it's that partitioning of what it is that you need to absorb which allows you to absorb it as opposed to doing it all at once. So you're good. Combat Eye asks, after a good handle on hiragana and katakana, wanikani is really great for kanji. Yeah, again, wanikani is it's in the same vein of remembering the kanji. It's this sort of like partitioning of what it is that you need to what it is that you need to do. By the way, Why You Shouldn't Dream is one of my favorite things on YouTube. I've used it as audio in a few DJ sets as an intro or interlude. I always get asked about it. Man, that's awesome, Rob. That's really, really inspiring. And that's kind of like, I couldn't like talk about a video like that. So much effort went into that video. And then for it, like, it hasn't cracked 3K views. But I'm so proud of it. And like you just said, I think it's the sort of way that you develop a true following where people are like, shit, that's really awesome. Like, damn, you know, like the comments and feedback where they legitimized, they vindicated the choice to make that video. Where people were like, that should have been trending. What the hell's going on? Why is this not more in the public eye? Blah, 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 blah. So that you just made my day with that. I really appreciate that. That was a real passion project. And I was really satisfied with the results. So to hear that you've been using it and enjoying it means a lot to me. Lania says, so following up on that question about the travel magazine, you know these YouTube makeup artists review products and get sponsorships. Have you thought about reviewing hotspots, etc., clubs? Yeah, but I think it's almost like you need to be bigger than me. Nobody looks at my channel and thinks that a guy who averages 4,000 to 5,000 views a video is a great advertising opportunity. They're like, no. So if when I get bigger, I'm sure that the sponsorships will come through more often. Bill, if you are lonely, check out RT Podcast if you want to watch a small group banter. Let's see. Violet Souza says ginger honey. Oh, V says ginger honey tea. Probably not the coffee that I'm drinking now. I talk this long, and of course my voice gets raspy. Yeah, I did meet Rachel in June briefly. What's up, Dave? Hey, Andrew. Andrew was if you guys have seen my Christmas video from last year, Andrew was an attendant at that. Kind of a cool relationship. We are friends. He had some questions before he came to Japan. Came to Japan. We actually had a chance to meet up, became good friends, and then ended up here at my Christmas party. Very, very cool. Also, as I understand, has a beautiful Japanese woman that is attracting most of his attention these days. I can't blame him for that. What's it, being here in New York City to pick up the girlfriend. How have you been recently? Still going? Yeah, hanging it. Dean is still kicking. Dean is working in my neck of the woods. Still going out with Dean. What are you insinuating, sir? Yeah, he works here. And he's doing well. He's doing well. Although his school is kind of rough around the edges. Okay. No, I mean, is it bad that you want to learn Japanese to read and watch anime? No, I mean, that should be another expression of the, how awesome it is to learn the language, that you can enjoy all the different forms of media that you have access to as a result of that. So whether it's watching movies, whether it's reading manga, whether it's whatever, yeah, that's awesome. Mainzy says, hey Dave, complicated question. If I want to live in Japan, do I need a graduation or job education? I am self-employed in Germany. Do I need proof about the amount of my income? No. Basically, if you want to teach in Japan, the eternal question will be answered again. If you want to do the public sector, you need to have a degree. If you want to do the private sector, then you'd want to at least have a TESOL or something like that. Yeah, but you do need a degree. You also need, in the public sector, to be a native speaker of English as well. So if you don't have that, you have to work in the private Eikaiwa sector, international schools, stuff like that. Yo, what up, Ian? Says, how the ladies been treating you, Dave? Very well, thank you. What up, Ian? Very well. The ladies are wonderful in Japan. Could always speak to a few more. You can never speak to too many ladies, unless of course you're in a relationship. Then don't speak to too many ladies. Be tempered in that. I love how every stream you bring up so much effort and 3K views. Still triggered about the Vachia video. Yeah. But it's like, I suppose it's stating a fact. It's like you put in this time, but I'm not embittered by it. Not embittered by it. It's like, that's the way it is. Until you eventually, one of these videos catches, and boom. Then you're no longer saying, oh, I only get 3K views. You're like, shit, I got 20K views. Holy shit. I'm staying with a host family. When I arrive, any tips for... Oh, sorry, I got to read this whole thing. I leave to the airport in 4 hours. I'm staying with a host family. Any tips for how to go about first meeting them? You could do like a little classy cultural thing, and of course give them a little omiyage, and when you give it to them you say "Tsumaranai mono desu ka? Dozo," which means this is, you know, this is but a small thing, but please take it. Tsumaranai mono desu ka? Dozo. Dave, how popular is hot coffee? I live in Montreal, Canada, and I drink hot Tim's coffee every day. Coffee is massive in Japan. Japanese people don't have a lot of exposure to many other stimulants or altered states of consciousness, so one of the things they most enjoy is tons of coffee and tons of canned coffee and tons of different companies, and yeah. I agree. I loved that video. Thank you, Graham. Awesome. If you change your name to channel DaveTrippin in Japan, your subscribers will increase. Guarantee. Perhaps, Stingray Shark, perhaps. Would you be interested in doing health-related videos? Yeah. I would want it to be, like, pretty open, like, staying healthy in Japan, or, like, give it that title that allows people to kind of, like, oh, I'm wondering, like, what this is about, as opposed to being so niche that it only gets so much attention. But I could do a health video. That would be cool. Dave, are you thinking of living in Japan for the long term? I would say for the foreseeable future. I would say, like, yeah, absolutely for the next 5 years. What resources do you use for learning Japanese? What advice would you give for a beginner who is studying Japanese and not residing in Japan currently? Okay, get through these. Focus, Dave. Focus. I use Remembering the Kanji. I use Memrise. I use Anki. I use Mina no Nihongo. I have a great teacher. If you weren't residing in Japan, I would use an app like HelloTalk so you'd be able to speak with a native, or at least practice your writing. James asks, are the gyms radically different in Japan? If so, a walkthrough would be cool. Do they have an adequate free weight section? In the cities they do, James. In the countryside they don't. You really have to search. The gym I go to cost $150 a month and would be laughable by comparison to what you would find back in Canada, but it does have everything I need, like the squat rack, the bench press, the blah blah blah. It's got everything that I need. Let's see. All the big YouTubers in Japan have Japan in their names, except for Rachel and June and Simon and Martina, two of the largest YouTubers in Japan. Let's see. What car are you currently driving? I'm a gearhead, just have to know. Oh, it's pretty badass, my car. Ooh. Prepare yourself. It's a Daihatsu Maxu, which is basically a K car. And I can drive for $40 for a month on the gas, which is amazing. And it has incredibly low taxes per year because the engine is a lawnmower engine, and I don't have to register my parking space. Search word in Japan is what they need to find. Dave, have you visited any spochas? I don't even know what a spocha is. Round one? No. Regarding the coffee, I still don't find a specific cool place to have nice coffee. I mean, artisanal coffee. Any suggestion? V, if you want really good coffee, I can't remember the place that they went to, but check Simon and Martina's channel. They went to some like hyper hipster, really, really good coffee place with like really delicious little snacks and okashi that you can have while you're having your coffee. I can't remember the name of it. I don't like to send people away for views from my channel, but the truth is they're the ones who got the coffee videos. So check out Simon and Martina. I don't think you'll have to go too far back in the record of their shows. And you would find it. Yeah, damn right I'm lucky driving a Daihatsu. So cool. What do you think of live streaming in real life in Japan? I think it'd be cool, like showing people like a place, be like, hey, I'm going to do like a 10-minute live stream here and show you guys around like wherever it is that I am. That would be really cool, but I would need to up the data plan on my phone because I'd just chew through data so fast before I'd be able to do that. I would love for America to have K cars. Yeah. I mean, K cars should be everywhere in the world. They're seriously one of the most amazing practical things you could think of. Is there a brand of Japanese coffee I could buy online to import to Canada? I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. Okay, next page. I didn't realize the music had stopped. Oh, isn't this peaceful? It's called Newfound Love. A Happy New Year 2018. Where is it? There's the Bitcoin ad. I was telling you guys that they had the Bitcoin ad. What am I doing? There it is, right? It should be a crossing. Haven't seen it yet. Plan to watch. Being busy selling Mazdas. Okay. I'm selling the Mazdas. Blacked out. He's going down. I'm going down. Oh, people were talking about dating apps as well. There's another one called Happen, Happn, and that one has this like weird way that it works where if you if you cross paths, if you literally walk by someone, then it shows you you crossed paths with this person. So that's another one that you can use. Dun, 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 dun. Have you ever encountered a drug user in your time in Japan? Oh, wait, I missed some new questions. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, just talking about stuff on cars. Have you ever encountered a drug user during your time in Japan? You're talking about, like, yeah, all those different kinds of drugs. No, I have not come across somebody who has been a drug user. I mean, I think almost like naturally there's just, I mean, because if you do anything in Japan, it's like you're destroyed. You're like, I mean, I think if you smoke weed in Japan, it's like 7 years in prison or something like that. Like it's pretty savage what happens to you if you get caught doing that stuff. So did you just say hello when you saw girls? Oh, maybe. Yeah, actually, it's interesting you asked that about the business. Starting a business in Japan is a good way to get a visa, and do you know what is required to do so? I've been looking into that much more, actually. God damn it. Yes, so to start a business in Japan, you need basically $50 to show them that you're serious. You need a business plan, and the whole process to register your business takes about a month to go through. So you got the money for investment, you've got the business plan to go ahead with, and then it takes a month to process all the paperwork because you got to like register here, get this stamp here, open a corporate bank account, blah, blah, blah. And it costs you, like you got to show that investment. The actual cost for registration of the business probably runs somewhere around $2,000 as well. So there is that. You got to consider the actual cost of registration. Yes, 50,000, not $50. Whoops. Almost. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? $50, you got a business. And I think that, yeah, of course, starting, I mean, if you've got the idea to do it, I mean, a business is I mean, anything that is entirely a self-driven means to support yourself is like a really great way to go about your life. Let's not kid. Since we live in this modern day of Google Maps, Rob, like, yeah, their whole address system is like way different, but I've never really had to struggle with it because you're just like, Google Maps, tell me where to go, and then Google Maps shows you where to go. I do not speak any other languages aside from English and Japanese, Fujiwara, but as I eventually draw in my ability even more so to I had a better word for this. Basically, as I get better at Japanese, I would absolutely try and learn other languages. I think that would be awesome. UCC, best supercar. Okay, yeah. I think 50,000. Andrew says, I would like to thank you, Dave, again for the great photography. Just got my gimbal and moment lenses for iPhone ordered. Going to get heavy into mobile photography. Awesome, Andrew. Right on. Scratch that creative itch. That sounds cool. 7 years for using weed. Would me using medical marijuana affect my ability to get an English teaching job in Japan? Yup. Yeah, I agree. You can't do it. Like, in Japan... Actually, maybe I should be... I'll do a quick Google. I'm going to make sure I don't talk out of my ass. Does Japan have medical marijuana? I don't think they do. I mean, medical marijuana. Yeah, Japan's war against medical marijuana. That's the first article that comes up. So basically, no. They treat... And this shows, like, I mean, that there are naive aspects to the Japanese culture, and their treatment of weed like heroin is one of them. Their phrase for drugs is zettai dame, which means absolutely never not. Like, and it's almost childish, the approach that the Japanese have. It's strengths and weaknesses to a willfully participated in collectivism, and that's like too much authority given to authority. And so people don't question these sort of draconian laws that they have in place. Okay. Jane, thank you for the great content. I'm currently applying to ITTI and Interact. I was an exchange student and want to host my sister's wedding in 2014. Love from Alberta, Canada. Right on! Right on, got some family in Alberta. Really appreciate the support. I am not in the, I have like, it's basically, I've hit the pause button, James, on the new novel. Although I've probably got about like 70,000 words written for him. It's tentatively called The Minder. But it's on pause right now on the new novel. And it's like, it'll be like a trilogy. Have you been to a Scandal concert? No, I've never even heard of that before. What kind of music do you listen to? I like power pop. I like synth pop. I like dream pop. I like what is the type of? I like EDM. Big favor of EDM. I like drum and bass. I like deep house. I like soft house. I like house. I like music's a huge thing for me. I subscribe for $3 a month, although you don't have to donate to them, but I do donate to them, to this like a music blogging site where they're constantly showing you new music. And excuse me, I'm always listening to new music and all kinds of styles, and yeah, big into the music thing. Acoustic, indie, like literally hundreds of genres I love. Kwa asks, Kya? How was it getting a phone? Let's see. How's it getting a phone in Japan? When you first got there, I was wondering if you could bring my unlocked Samsung phone and use it instead of buying a new one. Yep, you can do that and just buy the SIM card. That works. You could totally do that. getting a phone is not hard, although actually, what am I talking about? Like, a lot of these places have had so much, they've had a bad run of foreigners coming in who sign up for a contract and then just peace out, that they'll make you buy the phone outright. But then I just, like, I used to work in phones and wireless, and you just go down the street to the next store, and that store might allow you to get one on contract. Live stream is such a nice alternative to the videos. If you didn't do them, I would never hear you say shit like talk out of my ass. Yes. Special times, special occasions here on the live stream. What have you missed? You've missed everything. All things so important here, Dylan. Oh, sorry, I should clarify. I don't use it as much for my Crohn's anymore. I guess mostly just need to look into healthcare. Thanks for the response. Yeah, it's just like, I think medical, yeah, of course, like medical marijuana, like, what is it, you know, study after study after study has shown, and I've like seen footage of like people with seizures and all this shit, that somebody just takes like a puff of marijuana, and like they've wasted thousands of dollars on these like riddled with side effects medicines. They take a puff of weed, and then all their brutal symptoms are calmed. It's like, again, you don't need a medical degree to see that the science is coming out in support of medical marijuana, but systems are switching over. I mean, in Canada, full on, it's like, I almost feel like Canada felt competitive with the States for this one, where they saw that the States was state by state starting to legalize it, and then Canada was like, no, we're the progressive North Americans, and now the Liberal government is like right on through recreational use as of, I think it's June or July of this year, like full on in Canada. Anywhere in Canada, it's recreationally legal. You can grow it in your house. You can do, you know, it's like boom, floodgates wide open in Canada. So it's like, wow, from like this whole, like, you know, within 5 years ago, the cops would like arrest you. I mean, only in more extreme circumstances. Mostly they would just ignore you. But now to like full legalization, which is ridiculous. What are your daily headphones do you use? Audio-Technicas, or do you have good earbuds? Actually, Fujiwara, I don't. These are like my in-house daily. And then the ones I always wear at the gym are just these like $20 Sony earbuds that just fit my ears really well. I would love to get nicer earbuds, but that's kind of like down the road. Other things have priority for my cash right now. What is the next big step that you are taking or will take to promote your channel? The best thing that I can do, and it's obvious, aside from make content where I'm like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Especially this next one, I'm like, oh, this could have mass appeal. It could, because it's like, it's more humorous and more like a Vine skit, and those have more mass appeal. But aside from the things that I can create myself only for me on my channel, it's doing collabs with channels that are doing really well. And I don't know if you guys watch Yummy Japan, but you should. They make great videos if you like seeing food in Japan. And they're like this classic example of, they're not huge, they're in fact smaller than me, but they're so good at what they do, they're already blowing up. They've had their channel active for about a year now, and they're at 18,000 subscribers. They're averaging 100 subscribers a day. If I build up enough of a network with people like that, it doesn't matter if they don't have 100,000 subscribers. If I collab and make good content with channels that are blowing up as fast as that, that'll promote the channel. That'll give me exposure to greater audiences. When they come to my channel, they'll actually subscribe because they see, oh, this guy actually makes good content. Now that I've come to check out what he's making, I will subscribe here. So quality collaborations while giving people a reason to actually subscribe when they come over to look at my channel. So always getting better in terms of what I produce, and then collabing with like really good channels. Their opposition to marijuana is unfortunate, considering that although slightly waning, very open, very free laws regarding cigarettes, which is actually deadly and dangerous. Yeah, exactly, Neb. There's what are humans if not horrible hypocrites, right? And contradictive behaviors. New questions. Wow, people, there's been on. Do you dig trap music? That's like that really hard, like that like kind of fast stuff? I think so. I mean, it's not something I listen to a ton. But I mean, I would enjoy certain songs of that. Could you share the name of the blogging site? Not sure what you mean, Pancake. Which blogging site are you talking about? Luke says, hey Dave, just want to say massive thanks after watching your videos for ages. And even mentioning you in a seminar. That's cool. Thank you. I managed to get employed by Interact and should be moving in late April. Right on. Big congratulations for Luke, everyone. Let's give him a little round of applause here. Awesome to get employed. Exciting to get over. Very, very cool. Congratulations. Good evening, Dave says, it's Josie Posey. Hope everything is well. I'm applying for Interact right now. Since I graduate from college this March, I'm so nervous. Any other companies you would recommend? I want to work with kids. My go-to recommendation, because they give better holidays, they don't prorate you as bad, they have desirable locations for employment, would be Altia. I actually noticed the Altia Twitter account was following me for a while. I don't know. Let me check right now and see if they still are. But I thought that was cool, and they were like liking my posts and stuff. I think it's like in one video I was like, yeah, I would recommend Altia. And so they're like, this guy's cool. So they followed me. Let's see. I don't even know what their Twitter handle is now, but I thought that was kind of funny. And don't be nervous, or be only so nervous as it is exciting. You'll do well, Josie. You'll do well. Going back to the Japan trip, are there any places you should definitely avoid going? I'd rather not get mugged when trying to search for clubs. The easy place to pick on is Roppongi, being like dragged into bars and being roofied, something like that. But I mean, aside from like the dingiest places in Roppongi, I mean, Japan is famously safe for a reason. It is almost like disarmingly safe country. You don't want to be naive, but there's very few places. Like I say, don't get dragged into any like side bars or whatever in Roppongi, and I think aside from that, you're doing all right. Going back to Japan, the avoid. Also, Dylan says, also hopefully it's been a pleasant day. Oh yeah, it's been a great day. There are some politicians pushing against it fully being legal in Canada, so it isn't looking good. Oh, there's no way that no, it's going through, Platty. Believe me, there's no way. There's no way that I mean, it's already official. I believe like they've created the plan for it. It's not a question of if they will. They're going to. Like it's already passed. Where is Aditya asks, what are the differences between Canada and Japan in terms of the dating culture? What would I pick out? Naturally, there's the sort of things you can pick on, like the upfrontness that you might find in the West, where it'd be like, let's date, let's do this. And it's changing in Japan, but there's like an unspoken process to dating, which I think is also fading a little bit, which is, there's sort of like, if we go on a date, and we've had 3 dates, we can each of us assume that we are now going out with each other, where in the West, in Canada, you would never make that assumption. You might be going for a couple weeks, and then you're finally like, so are we going to talk about this? Is this something more serious, or are we just kind of like having fun seeing each other? There's a less, what would you call it, codified system to dating, where in Japan, at least in the old school sense, there is a codified system to like, you're dating this person, you go out with them. But aside from that, I mean, people are all about the new tech, whether it's like meeting people through these like dating apps and meeting like a lot of interracial relationships. Like it's getting blown pretty wide open. Still some hesitancy. Of course, you get like very often the language barrier, and there's all sorts of insecurities associated with that. But more and more and more and more, those walls are being broken down. Oh, I like this song. This is chilling. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's cool. This is chill. Don't like the piano as much. Don't like the tone of it. This feels like it would end up being like an Elliott Smith song. Paulo from Tokyo, Charlotte in Japan. The Casual has a specific content you can check out. There you go. You should listen to Ryan's Celsius trap play, which are mixed with videos of bus footage in Japan. Okay, cool. Okay. What is this? Move that. My Japanese has failed me there. I can understand that you're asking me, do I like something? I don't know what you're asking me. I don't know what specifically you're asking me if I like. Yeah, Bill, I have watched Ali Wong. Actually, I think, what did I watch? I watched Baby Cobra. Really, I fucking loved the new Dave Chappelle too. Like, watched those right away. Those were awesome. Yeah, but I've definitely watched Ali Wong. She's cool. She was good. She is a funny woman. William says, "Hey Dave, I'm currently in college studying for my English teaching degree." Cool. I heard a lot of people teaching English for kids, but is it possible to teach in middle school or high school? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely it is. I mean, often with these companies, you can state that preference before you come over. You can be like, look, I only want to work for you if I can work in a junior high school. Hey, I'm getting back to the jazziness. Turn that down a bit. I'll only work for you if I work in a high school, or I work in a junior high or something. Sorry, I meant the music blogging site you mentioned for the new music. Oh yeah, sure. The name of that is for Pancake here. The name of that. Oh, there you go. I work for Altia. It's solid. There you go. It's called Hypem.com. 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 And it's free. You don't have to pay. I've used it for like 8 years, and I was like, I can afford $3 a month for thousands of songs. Aside from the fact that they're predominantly Japanese, how does the DaveTrippin Rat Pack in Japan differ from your Canadian friends that you chill with? It's much smaller. Like I always am always going on, probably insufferably for some people. I don't hang out with a lot of people in Japan. I got a really good friend, Dean. I had a really good friend before. His name was Chopper. Both these guys are from England. I hang out with them. And then aside from that, I work on Dave Incorporated, which is basically my YouTube channel, and so it doesn't allow... I don't get out much. Okay, Melezzo says, cars like you, I got my own, now changing to K-car because the tax shocking costs I don't want to take on. Yeah, exactly, super expensive. Maybe you could update a car guide video. Yeah, I could definitely do that. Something better than the fucking horrible one that I made. I mean, it really is horrible. It's good to see how it could improve now, but when I look back on that, man, love the picture you have on the screen. Thank you very much. Yeah, I thought this is a cool one. I like all the light and the shadow in this one is really cool. Have you ever studied any form of marketing to help your channel at all? I've definitely, I have. I've been all over YouTube on like how to grow your channel better, how to promote yourself through social media better, how to use Patreon properly, how to. I've done lots. I mean, I've gone right into, although I've foregone it now, I've gone into like color psychology on the sort of like colors you use in your thumbnails, which entice people to click on your videos, because we respond obviously to color very differently. I've done it all. I've gone in deep psychology on this shit. I think it's an experience dating someone who's not of the same race or culture. You learn new things. Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. What games do you play on Steam? No, I do not play PUBG. I'm one of the few who doesn't, I guess. I've been playing FTL for the last while because it's like a single serving play when I'm like, okay, I'll just play this for 40 minutes and it'll be done when I'm done. Dave, Fujiwara says, I don't know if you know this, but how are new houses in Japan built differently from the current ones? Do they still use traditional materials that are found in more traditional homes? If you look around my house, you can see that there's a modern design to it, but there are certain like staple things that the Japanese do when they design value housing. And this stuff, like, I don't even know what you call this sort of like walling that they use, but like I go to so many houses where I'm like, it's all the same walling. And I'm sure that would change as you went to nicer and nicer houses, but definitely there's something there's something in the style and aesthetic that they are always doing with the materials they use to build, and as well as the layout. Graham says, I recently had an interview at Kaiwa, and their contract had a condition that upon completion of the contract, you cannot work in Nagoya pre-check shares. Have you heard of this before? No. That's, forgive the insensitive word to use here. That's retarded. They can't even legally do that. I mean, that, my friend, is pure bullshit. Pure bullshit. You playing Fortnite? I'm not playing Fortnite, Fujiwara. I had a friend who was like, download it, and I downloaded it, and then I didn't play it. Have you seen Sungha Jung play the guitar? No, I haven't. I bet he's amazing. Have you considered doing freelance translation work? Do you have any insight on this industry? No! Because my Japanese is nowhere near that ability. That guy was talking about the mentor, though. I spoke to him yesterday, and it sounds like that's something he's interested in. Asaka Yui. Oh, okay. I don't know Asaka Yui. Questions, many questions. Okay. Scandal 4 Evo on here. There has many music videos. Their second Japanese band. Cool. Unfortunately, I don't understand. Oh, okay, I see. Cool. Hey, Dave, I think I saw your video at Gotten a Job at the Board of Education. How are you liking it? Also, could you give some insight into what the career path looks like there? So, I really like it. It is, without question, infinitely better than the position that I had before with Interact. Like, not even, it's like night and day. The people, I lucked out. I've worked at 2 schools in the course of it, and each school I've had just incredible staff, wonderful people to work with. In terms of a career path, I think, as I've talked about, like, okay, here's a career path. You start with Interact, one of these entrance companies. You get a much better job as a direct hire. You're honing your Japanese ability the whole time. You get your Japanese ability up to a point where you then have like business level Japanese. You then find something like Jordan had, which is Jordan, this mentor I'm talking about here, where he speaks Japanese so well he can be an international coordinator at a university. You're an international coordinator at a university for a little while. Then you have baller Japanese, and then from baller Japanese, it's like, I don't even know at that point. But you're making well of an excess of, like, you're making over 50,000 a year at that point. And I like, God, who knows what other jobs you could have at that point. There's so many different companies that would hire you. If you ever get the chance, head up to Hokkaido. I would. Again, I've actually been to Hokkaido. I went there for a snowboard trip. Rainbow Six Siege would be awesome. I just know when I've looked at that, I'm like, I would like that. How do you feel about the Japanese pension plan and finance investments as they relate to living in Japan? Pension plans have, I mean, sure, they're there, and I think, like, they say something culturally that you're trying to look after your population, but for me, my life, pension plans don't concern me. I'm like, the idea of working to retire disgusts me. I want to have a more interesting and more successful and more passionate life that I would like to build, whatever I can, before I retire, that I would not need a pension, and in fact a pension would just be like, whatever, I'm already well taken care of, as a result of my own steam. So great, have a pension plan, because not everybody is gonna like live their life like I do, but I consider that if I used a pension at the end of like whatever period of time I was able to work, I would have considered myself as having failed. I know someone who whoa, that jumped way too far ahead. I knew someone who transitioned to working directly for the BOE after their jet time was up. He worked with them for 10 years. The 10-year limit. Okay, some Board of Education's, Pancake, they have a limitation. The Board of Education I work for does not. So if somebody wanted to work there for the rest of their life, they could do that. So it just depends on the Board of Education that you're at. Some pay more, some pay less, some give more holidays, some give less holidays, some have limits, some don't. There's a big variety. Thanks for answering it. There is a real charm to the tatami and wood. I know I keep going back to the machio, but stuff like that really blows me away. Yeah, the traditional housing in Japan, if you want to go that style, is beautiful. It's really, it's something you can get into. Aditya asks, what did you do back in Canada before moving to Japan? As a God-cursed arts degree student, I did a variety of things, which is, I mean, I suppose in that sense, it's like my own fault. I knew, I was like, I'm getting a degree in history. That's not the most employable job. So for a while, I managed a wireless store, like you might, I don't know, like in the States, what they would have, like Sprint or something. It's like I managed that, or in Japan, it's like I managed a Docomo or a SoftBank store, which was soulless, and I saw how they absolutely abused customers. Like, wireless companies are absolutely absurd. Like, very few industries are almost pure evil. I think that the wireless industry is almost pure evil. So I didn't want to do that, obviously, and once I stopped doing that, I was like, I gotta go back. I've got to get my GPA higher. So I went back to school, and in the course of going back to school, just didn't do that well. Couldn't do that well. School's tough for me. Getting my GPA up, like, I basically failed at. Couldn't get it up. I went back to, if you want to look up Black and Blue Steakhouse in Vancouver, I worked in the ridiculous steakhouse for this, it's called Global Group, and it's basically run by a bunch of gangsters. So that was exciting. It was like, this is an interesting time of my life. There was like a lot of like, just crazy nights and celebrities that were like going through there. So it was like interesting in an experiential way. But it was very much spinning my wheels, and I was like, I gotta follow a greater passion than this, and so I came over to Japan, and the rest, as they say, is history. Some cool, badass music. How long would it take to learn Japanese well enough to translate? I think you could do it in a year, if you were a good enough student. But then probably maybe for the average Joe who doesn't have the time to commit to that process, anywhere, I would say 2, 3, 4, 5 years and up. But that's with an absurd amount of effort. Maybe for the average Joe, you should, I would think, oh hell. I would think within 5 years you could do it. Okay, let's see, where is this? Dave, is it common for folks to use work opportunities at Eikaiwa to transition to something else in Japan? Do you see it often, or are people more dedicated to educating? No, people do that all the time. Asaki Yui is a singer, oh, okay. No, he does not have a YouTube channel, Pancake. Hello, Limousine. I am writing another book. How old are you? Is there still dating scene in your early 30s? I should hope so. I'm 33, and the dating scene is just fine. All right, guys. I just realized I promised people I would meet with them by 12 o'clock today, so cutting it short of just under 3 hours here, it looks like I'm gonna have to call the stream now. Otherwise, I'm gonna have some very, very pissed off people. And it's a shame too, because this is like, I'm really like the conversation here. This is like definitely one of the best like flow, like lots of good questions happening, lots of great interaction here in the stream today. So that's great. But yeah, I gotta call it. How are you studying, Yep, remembering the kanji. Yep, that's good. Yes, there'll be certainly more streams in the near future. It was a pleasure hanging out. Thank you to the people who came to support the stream. This was, I think, it's probably actually the best stream I've done, I think, in terms of attendance and overall engagement. We've had a lot of great conversation here. Yeah, this stream was good enough that I'm definitely, some of the streams I'm like, meh, I don't want to have that up there. This stream was good enough. I think I'm gonna leave this one up in the streams playlist. So if anybody wants to catch anything or clarify, that will be available. Okay, everybody have a great evening, afternoon, tomorrow, now, and I will catch you guys later. Peace. Catch you next time.